Starting June 1st, it will begin a new installment of the Hebrew and Bible Academy. The full 12 weeks will be concentrating on the beginning and fall of Babylon, history, the understanding of the religious aspect of Babylon, as well as what? The theme from Babylon, Rome to America. In the Academy, this is what you can look forward to. New lessons, the secret war of Edom against Israelites. But one thing we've never delved into was bringing forth the history, showing all the contentions and war Edom had waged against Israelites even until our present time. The desolation of abomination, how to calculate time according to God, and I can't wait for this lesson, Armageddon. The final war in heaven. If you've never been in the Academy, you want to be in this one. June 1st, we're in open enrollment right now. Go to historytimes.org to enroll. Hebrew and Bible Academy. You're invited. Blessings, blessings, brothers and sisters. I'm Elder Rick Shar of the Gathering of Christ Church for our weekly broadcast. They call it podcast now. Well, let's go. Shalom. Come on.
The east is where we're from.
Blessings, blessings.
12 tribes of Israel. In 721 BC, the Assyrian king, he took us down, we fell. With a great escape, we went through the Euphrates.
Come on, come on.
The Lord held the waters still.
To a land where no mankind dwelt.
To a land where no mankind dwelt, we went. The 12 tribes of Israel. That's who we be. Manasseh, the Cubans, Ephraim from Puerto Rico, and Valley from the hearts of Hawaii. The Lord is calling back Israel. Zebulon from Panama, the North American Indians.
Come on in.
The Dominicans, our highest gathering Israel. The Arabs and Africans told us. Together our wives and children then sold us. In the belly of these great ships we traveled in fear. By the rivers of Babylon we found our brothers here. A high gatherer in Colombia, Reuben from Australia, Issachar, the Mexicans. A highest gathering Israel.
Hit the like button.
Reuben from Australia, Issachar, the Mexicans. That's who we be. Judah, the Negroes, Benjamin, the West Indians, Levi, the Haitians.
Blessings, blessings, blessings.
Manasseh, the Cubans, Ephraim from Puerto Rico, and Valley from the hearts of Hawaii.
Come on.
The The Lord is calling back Israel. Zebulun from Panama, Gad from North American Indians, Simeon the Manakites, our highest gathering Israel.
That's right, brothers and sisters, the Most High's gather in Israel. I'm Elder Gocc, the Gathering of Christ Church, along with Elder Loy. I'm going to bring him in 1 moment. Yes, yes, yes. Hit the like button, and yes. All praises be to the Most High, Ahia. In the name of Yeshua, Ahia strong. We thank the Most High for another opportunity to come before you, brothers and sisters, as we as a people come closer to the kingdom of heaven. For those who don't know, again, I'm Elder Gocc. Blessings, blessings to my brothers and sisters throughout the 4 corners of the earth. I'm happy to announce that we will be going through with the school this coming September. It's going to be a great thing, especially with what's going on in the earth right now. We understand that the education system has been stacked against us. They have radicalized, over-sexualized, and destroyed the family inside out, targeting our children. The Bible states that we should what? Train up a child the way he should go, or she should go, and that child shall not depart from the Most High. Well, I'm so glad we'll have our own school. And we don't have to worry about the indoctrination, the eugenics, and the radicalization that leads to hell that we normally experience in public schools with our children. We have been targeted by the liberals, by the Satanists, medically and otherwise, to destroy us in the inner cities. And guess what? We are pivoting. A brand new school. Online, the parents going to have to be fully engaged, but you'll be hearing more about that very, very soon. Go to gatheringofchrist.org. Go check it out. We're going to have our I Am Royal Academy for students 1 through 12. Also, I want to celebrate, all praises be to the Most High, Bishop's Aaron wife, who the church backed her and made sure we gave everything she needed to go to learn to become a midwife, professionally trained. And for the first time yesterday, we're going to have more on this announcement this coming Friday. Last night was the first couple who brought forth a child through a midwife within the Gathering of Christ Church, from the Gathering of Christ Church. She wanted to be able to help births in our church, so we have to worry about the corporate sponsored births and all these others where they're trying to force things on our children that literally, according to our God, is against the law. Just can't be putting any old stuff in our children. We're clean people. We belong to the Almighty. And for the first time, a couple in the church was able to have a child through a midwife. We funded Aaron's wife to be able to be a midwife, and much more to come. Kingdom children are being born through kingdom people. And none of this would be possible without your support. Okay? As we get closer to the mark of the beast, where they're doing what? Corporations is controlling healthcare. They're going to tighten the belt, where we're going to have to learn how to do what we've been doing before modern medicine, before what we see today in corporate hospitals. We've been having children since Adam and Eve. And now it's time for us to get back there, because some of the requirements that it takes for you to be in one of these institutions, the cost is exorbitant. On top of that, the doctors and nurses in these institutions are under pressure to make sure that children are being given certain things that we disagree with. So again, we celebrate that sister and that family who was able to have a child through a midwife of the gathering of Christ Church. That and more we'll be discussing this coming Friday. And, you know, maybe we can bring her in for a couple of minutes and she can let us know what her first experience was about, what led her down this journey to help our children who need to be born here and help our women who are under stress sometimes under these hospital situations and you know, and under duress and fear, certain things they agree with that they wouldn't otherwise. So I thank the Most High for that too. Sister Erica, she went through the training. She had the kingdom baby. All praises be to the Most High. This coming Sunday, we'll be going into the secrets of the times. How to calculate time according to God. Okay? Putting everything back into God's perspectives according to Sabbaths. Okay? Daniel 7:25 reads that they should think to change times and laws. Brothers and sisters, we are not in 2025. They claim it's 2025 Anno Domini, the day of our Lord, which means they try to claim that we're 2025 years from Christ's birth. It's a lie. And when the Bible stated they shall think to change times and laws, it was talking about the Roman Empire, who are Edomites. I have books stacked this high, brothers and sisters. I have books stacked all the way up to the top, where Edom is actually admitting that they're Rome. The Romans are with Edom. Edomites are admitting. Romans are admitting that they know that they're Edomites. It's in their records. It was in a lot of the older records in the 1800s. Okay, that's number one. Number two, when it comes to the secrets of the times, they shall think to change times and laws. It was speaking of the fourth beast, who is the Roman Empire. Right? They lied on Christ because they know Christ is coming to judge Rome. They circumvented and really infiltrated the Christian church once our people lost Jerusalem. We are the children of Israel. You're looking at us. We're suffering the curses according to Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter. We are the people. So we're going to break it down according to Sabbaths. This coming Sunday, the secrets of the times. They shall think to change times and or laws. We're going to point to the enemy and how they were able to deceive the people. Once we went into captivity, our people fell asleep, was indoctrinated by our enemies. And when we woke up out of slavery, we woke up believing what? That we were 300 years ahead of the regular time. See, that's what happens when the enemy can teach history, his story, right? He can indoctrinate you in your schools to make you believe anything he would like. He can fabricate stories in Europe that never happened, just to fill in a fictitious timeline. And none of us have the resources to go into Europe to verify whether or not the characters, the stories they gave us to fill up certain time actually existed. It's really, their history books is synonymous to what Hollywood became. Right? Fiction using real life characters with fake stories. Folks, we went to sleep. They indoctrinated, they killed the aged elders who understood, indoctrinated the children, And then when we went to school, they made us write the times on our paperwork. And we thought we was in the date in the year they told us. Folks, what if 300 years is missing? Don't worry about it. I'll break that down. We will break that down, Elder Lawyer and I, this coming Sunday. And yes, before I bring Elder Lawyer in, let me make an announcement that we are oh, Sister Shayla, yeah. We are in Academy enrollment period, which will start September 7th, right? Now, before I go there, let me see here. Make sure this is correct. Sister Shayla, that's her name, Sister Shayla. She said she had her first birth in the body as a primary midwife last night. Brother Charles and Sister Sakiria had a beautiful baby boy. And this Sister Shayla was the head midwife. Kingdom people. And you know, we're not going to allow people to target our boys coming out. All right? So, they come straight out of the hospital, straight from their mother, drinking the mother's milk, and that's all they need. That and the protection of their family. And above all, the God who sent, that's right, a son of Zion. All right. It's time for us to jump right in. But before doing so, let me just mention that the next Academy, let's see. The next Academy, we're going to be breaking down more so the spiritual side of this walk. Revelation is the title. Mysteries of the spiritual realm. We wrestle not with flesh and blood. So we're going to actually be going into the spiritual side of things. How Christ was able to defy the laws of this world, operating in between the two. Right? So we're going to be talking about the spiritual realm more so when we deal with these up and coming lessons. If you want to enroll, go to historytimes.org. Let me bring in Elder Lawyer. Shalom. How you doing, Elder Lawyer?
Shalom, sir. I'm doing well. How about yourself?
I'm blessed by the best, and his name is Ahaya. The weather haven't been permitting it lately, but we are, Elder Lawyer, we're going to be going out to speak very, very soon on the streets. So let's gird up and get ready, get our security together. You know, I've been teaching, I have to do the lessons, and then we're putting together a music project. So as you can hear, you know, I have to get my throat straight because I gotta, you know, when I get on the streets, I'm going to be bringing it up a few decimals. So, and we just have to get our security together, and it's going to be interesting. The other thing, coming around full circle, it seemed as if we're quite close here. It seems as if we'll be in Detroit for the next Passover, a place where we first began with the path to the mark, where Elder Dell was sitting in the audience, not realizing one day that he would be over all of Detroit. So, so we're still working out the details there, but I'm excited about this, and hopefully, if we're still here, if it be the Most High's will, by the following Passover, we'll have our own everything, so we're not dealing with any of these venues going forward. Our own revival ground, our own building that can hold thousands of people, and hopefully the Most High open it up that way, but there's so much going on. we were about to do it this year, a place where we can gather, but we're reading the tea leaves and trying to figure out, okay, should we put something here or should it be other places? So in the meantime, we're just going to have the Passover here in the United States one more good year, and then have the Most High Spirit guide us on what to do next, whether or not we have to do it here, someplace else, or be like pilgrims and just do it wherever the Most High takes us, right?
Right. Right. Absolutely.
So that's where that is. Now, Elder Lawyer.
Yes, sir.
Real quick, of course, we're going into a lesson today, a video I want you to hear in a second. The nations are realizing who we are. More and more nations out of nowhere are asking serious questions, as if the Most High is doing something with the Gentiles. The nations that outside of our people, without us saying anything, are beginning to realize that our people are the chosen people. And you don't have to take it from my mouth. We're going to hear their own testimony, right? But before I go there, that's what I'm going to talk about tonight. Before I go there, let's just see if we could view a few things that's in the news real quick before segueing over. Okay? Let's go to a few things that's in the news. Let me get you here. I didn't set you up on this side over here yet. Fine. A few things that's in the news real quick before going into our main topic. And I really want to hear the perspective of the perspectives, excuse me, of our audience this evening. Boy, it's a hot one today, I'll tell you.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, I'm sitting here with cotton mouth, right?
Yeah.
It's so hot out there. Right here from Daily Galaxy. Zuckerberg declares the end of mobile phones and confirms the tech that's replacing them. Interesting. Now, even though these phones are, I would say, are efficient, and that the technology is a needed technology in the time we're living in as far as communicating with those we care about, it seems, Elder Lawyer, that these phones has done more harm than good.
Right.
Right? Now, we can only ascertain or think that what's ever coming next is worse. Right? Now, one thing about the phones is that it is a necessity to some degree when it comes to its efficiency and all it offers, right? So many things in one particular device.
Right.
I mean, if James Bond had this back in the 60s, this telephone by itself would be worth probably $10-15 million with what it offers. Right? They had a big machine, this big first computer that took up a whole building that couldn't hold the memory, store the memory that we have currently in the palm of our hands. They'll show you how sophisticated they've gotten with this technology. Many cameras, to have a small little camera that you can place anywhere, that you can actually, really, I'm talking about the generation of some of these phones. I've known producers who have did a whole movie off of using an iPhone. So, and then you want to talk about GPS, to be able to go any place in the earth as a GPS device connected to satellites. right? It's so many things. One day I was at a traffic stop, and you know how you go. Well, I went for my registration, and of course I did that. You have to ask for permission. I'm a black man. My hands is on the steering wheel. Okay, I asked, can I get my registration?
Right.
And the registration was okay, but you know how sometimes you forget to switch out the insurance card.
Right.
And I'm like, officer, my insurance card, it looks like it expired. He says, it expired. He says, okay, is it up to date? What's going on here? I'm like, you mind if I check my phone? Went to my phone's email, and guess what? The insurance card that was updated was there, and I was able to pass him my phone, and he seen my insurance card, and he says, okay. I'm like, well, by the way, officer, was anything wrong? He says, no, it was just a routine stop. He said, thank you. Respectfully, there's nothing wrong here. Have a good evening, sir. He said it was a routine stop. I was polite, but it's deep that I was able to go to my phone and get the document I wanted, and the police accepted it. He looked at it. He ran everything. He came back and says, have a good evening, sir. I'm like, have a good evening, sir. So it's everything with this phone. So I'm wondering. Now, these are the positive things I'm mentioning. Right? In an emergency, if your loved one needs you, boom, bang, bang. Instant access. These are the positive things. But there's some negative things. Right? Some of the negative things, number one, is the fact that now, I would say, it's an open door to all types of negativity. Right? When we grew up, it was simple. You get with the people around you and it's all fine because you don't know anybody else. But now the whole world is accessible, and the majority of people just can't settle and make rational choices, believing there's always a better option someplace when it comes to the dating market. It have utterly destroyed relationships as we know them. But that's a whole nother conversation. But I need to know, what is it that Zuckerberg is stating that will replace the cell phone? Let me read this. For nearly 3 decades, smartphones have ruled our lives. Until now. It ain't ruled my life, I tell you that. I'll sit there and look at that sucker. It can ring, that thing be shaking, it vibrate, it can shake, it'll fall off the dresser.
Right.
and then people get attitude. I know you see me calling you. I'm like, listen, this is my life. I don't know what's going on with this world where people think they own your life and can come in any moment, not understanding, not respecting that other things might be happening.
Right, exactly.
If no one is answering the phone, then I'm not accessible, even if I see who's calling. I mean, it's like everyone feel like they own other people. Are you ignoring me? No, I'm not ignoring you. Okay? If I answered the phone, elder lawyer, every time the phone rang, don't you know that I wouldn't have 1 minute of sleep? I wouldn't have 1 minute of sleep. And I'm talking about it. The phone be waking me up 3:30 in the morning, 4 in the morning. And guess what? I don't wake up with an attitude. I don't wake up, but if somebody ring me that time, I have to pick up because it might be life or death. So I pick up. Hey, hello. Right. Hey, how you doing, elder? Like, I'm asleep, sir. I'm never going to get angry at a person, but usually I answer the phone if it's that time, because usually it's life or death. Something has happened. But let me tell you, that's the downside of the phone.
Right.
Is that you're always accessible. People know that they know you see their call. And now that's another reason for people to get offended and or angry at you. And I'm like, you know what? Sooner or later, man, I can't wait till we have to revert back to real life.
Done.
And it's coming. Because what Zuckerberg is talking about, people have a choice to make. For nearly 3 decades, smartphones have ruled our lives until now. If Mark Zuckerberg is right, their reign is coming to an end. In less than a decade, he predicts that smart glasses will take over as our main connection to the digital world, making smartphones a thing of the past. It might sound impossible, but the race have already begun. Meta, Apple, and other tech giants are pouring billions into augmented reality and artificial intelligence. To make this future a reality, the question is, are we ready to ditch our phones forever? Right? Are smartphones on their way out? We check them hundreds of times a day. They control our schedules, social lives, and even how we shop. But smartphones are becoming more of a burden than a convenience. Endless notifications, screen fatigue, the constant need to be plugged in. People are getting tired of starting a handheld screen all day. Tech insiders believe that the next big innovation isn't upgrading your smartphones. It's replacing them entirely. Zuckerberg envisions a world where you never have to pull a device out of your pocket again. Instead, all of your digital interactions, text, calls, navigation, entertainment, will be seamlessly displayed in front of your eyes using smart glasses. Okay? And guess what? Even though the next generations have already been really accustomed to dealing with those glasses and all that, I'm fading out of it. There's no way, but this next generation and the way they're going to market it, it's going to be the thing to do. And I would say that, they're going to probably have x-rays and all that where you can see women and all that and how they look. But with what women are wearing now, guess what? You can just scrap that if that was on the table. You don't need x-ray glasses anymore. That probably would have been a caveat years ago when I was coming up, but right now there's no need to do the x-ray thing. Okay. Women are running around butt naked right now. Right.
Right.
And wondering, where are all the men? The men are running. That's what they're doing. Any men with common sense. Men are looking for women with their clothes on. Now, that's deep how things have switched up, right? Lawyer, they have saturated the world with so much of the promiscuous look of no clothing that it doesn't leave anything to the imagination anymore. A man can't sit back and say, okay, and have any mystery when it comes to, engaging a person, a woman.
Right.
It's like,
right.
And women don't understand what that does to men. Right? If there's no mystery and you're saturated with your clothes and your butt and all that, it doesn't have the same appeal.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
If they seen one, they seen them all.
Mm-hmm.
Now the women that aren't showing themselves like that with clothes on have swung the pendulum. Now the man is like, well, hold up now. This is something different over here. So
Yep.
Right? But anyway, Zuckerberg's vision isn't just speculation. It's already taken place. Meta Orion project revealed at the Meta Connect 2024 event is described as the most advanced smart glasses ever built. These futuristic glasses feature holographic displays that project virtual images that project virtual images into the real world, making it possible to text, call, or navigate without reaching for a phone. I wonder if is this connected to the brain chips eventually, and the chips in the hand. Unlike previous AR experience, Orion isn't just a gadget. It's designed to completely replace the smartphone with eye tracking voice commands and hand gestures. Users can interact with digital content effortlessly. Sort of like Minority Report, Elder, where they were just moving stuff around.
Right.
But
Swipe.
It was swiping, but it's with your hands, but with your glasses, right? But you can see it through your eyes. But people will see you moving like this, but you're really moving things and all that, right? Connected to your biometrics and all that because of your hands and all that. So when you start moving, you're just swiping. You'll be able to see YouTube just like that and swipe, right? And then
Right.
a keyboard will come up. You can just type, right? That's what they're working on, right? Meta isn't stopping with Orion. The company has also partnered with Ray-Ban to bring smart glasses to the masses. The Ray-Ban Meta smart glasses combine Ray-Ban's signature design with Meta's AI-driven technology, packing cameras, speakers, and voice control into a stylish frame. While not as advanced as Orion, these glasses represent a crucial step toward making AR wearable mainstream. Okay, that's where they're going. And of course, this will be, and it says, check this out, but this is never going to happen for us. Plus, history shows that old tech doesn't vanish overnight. Landlines survived for decades after mobile phones took over. Some people will still prefer desktops to laptops. The smartphone might not disappear completely, but it could fade into the background as glasses take center stage. Now, folks, what are they truly planning? Right? What is the real deal? Okay? Because, believe it or not, brothers and sisters, this is a gradual drip drop. Just gradual baby steps towards their end game. They want you to look at the sunglasses and all that. That's not what we need to be focused on. Right? It's a beta switch. What should we be focusing on? Some might ask. Well, Aaron Russo, the movie producer, he did a Philadelphia production here decades ago. Dan Aykroyd, and Eddie Murphy. And Elder Lawyer, tell me if this isn't prophetic or apropos. Aaron Russo, a man who understood history when you look into him, bank history and all these others, but he came up from the grassroots and they wanted to move him into the higher circles. His groundbreaking production, Aaron Russo, was Trading Places, where these two elite white eldermen make a $1 bet that they can take a poor guy hustler off of the streets of Philadelphia and train him to be beyond the mind and intellect of an Ivy League white man with a silver spoon in his mouth. What did Aaron Russo know? What did he understand? Let me tell you, that was a deep movie. If you really go into the mind that went behind that particular production. Trading places. And see what people are looking at it one way, that, okay, a black man who had nothing, savvy, intelligent, if you give him the right resources, he can do as good as anyone else, right? That would be the underlying narrative that most would take from it, right? If you give us the same opportunity, it's over. But I'm going to tell you what people really didn't understand from that movie, brother, Elder, is that they traded places with us. Where they are in power. They're here in power because they traded places with us. See?
Right.
So it wasn't hard for, once Eddie Murphy had the opportunity in the movie, or when we have it in real life, it's not too tough for us to transition and use our natural innate spirit to make things happen. Because it was always in us to do so. We did it before they did it. And that's not boasting. That's true history. And this leans more so towards where I'm going into with the testimony the Gentiles have. They're starting to understand what they thought, but really couldn't truly connect the dots concerning who are these people. People always understood that there was something special about us. Oh, it's in the music. You all got soul. You this, you that. I mean, your slang. How you're able to adapt even in menial conditions. From the outside looking in, a lot of us, even being poor, look like superheroes to some of these people because they know they couldn't have went through this.
Right.
They know they couldn't have, most nations couldn't have went through what we've gone through, but still, what? Be cool with everyone. I need y'all to think about that. Most people would have been, running around with an attitude, axe to grind. Not to say some of us don't, but not the majority of us. We just want to live our lives and be left alone. Right? But Aaron Russo knew something. Hit that like button, folks. We're going to have a good broadcast this evening. Check out what Aaron Russo was told. Fair use. For educational purposes only. Huh?
This is Aaron Russo, a filmmaker and former politician. To his left is Nicholas Rockefeller of the infamous Rockefeller banking and business dynasty. After maintaining a close friendship with Nicholas Rockefeller, Aaron eventually ended the relationship, appalled by what he had learned about the Rockefellers and their ambitions.
I got a call one day from an attorney woman I knew, and she said, would you like to meet one of the Rockefellers? I said, sure, I'd love to. And we became friends, and he began to divulge a lot of things to me. So he said to me one night, he said that there's going to be an event there, and out of that event, you're going to see we're going to go into Afghanistan, so we can run pipelines from the Caspian Sea. We're going to go into Iraq to take the oil and establish a base in the Middle East, and we're going to go into Venezuela and try and get rid of Chavez. And the first two they've accomplished. Chavez they didn't accomplish. And he said you're going to see guys going into caves looking for looking for people that they're never going to find. You know, he was laughing about the fact that you have this war on terror. There's no real enemy. He's talking about how by having this war on terror, you can never win it because it's an eternal war. And so you can always keep taking people's liberties away. And I said, how are you going to convince people that this war is real? He said, but the media can convince everybody it's real. I mean, you know, it's just
So here it is. They're at a cocktail place, as he claimed, there's eating amongst the elite, their little social clubs, and the Rockefeller bankers say, we're going to make people believe that some people in caves and did this thing. And through this pretext, we're going to go to war and take down all these places in the Middle East. And back then, even Aaron Russo, who was on the outside of their social network at that time, he got in strictly through talent in movie production in Hollywood, but he was still on the outside of the elite circle. He's like, how you going to, American people, they might be naive, but they aren't that dumb. How are you going to convince American people to go along with this? He said, the Rockefellers told him, the media. We're going to use the media to convince them that all of this is real. The media will convince it. Listen, the media can convince everybody that it's real. Folks, if the media didn't tell us about the virus and all of these things, would we have reacted the same? Would we have known that it was anything out there at all? I need y'all to think about that, folks. That's why I don't trust anything they say. Because I know they work. Their model is the Hegelian dialectic. That's their model. It's an old model. It's called the Hegelian dialectic. Look it up. What is that? We're not taught this in school. Usually you have to be in college under philosophy where they give you this insight. Hegelian dialectic. You can get the people to do whatever you would like them to do. But this is how you must create the problem. Wait for the reaction. Now, they have no control over the reaction. But they must create the problem. So already you can't trust that model. Now, sometimes they luck up where some event happens that's disastrous, where they didn't have to create it. And now they go, oh yeah, this happened. Now we can push this policy through with this solution. Sometimes that happens, but when these events doesn't happen like that organically fast enough, they're engineered. The Hegelian dialectic is what? We create the problem. We wait for the people to react. And once there's enough ground swelling of fear amongst the population, the politicians come with a solution. See? So now it looks as if the politicians are acting on behalf of the people. See? Man, when it happened, we made sure that there was enough vaccines rolled out, and to make you believe that the politicians are reacting based on the fear of the people, right? That's just one example of many. That's why I don't trust anything they say. Because I understand the model. Look it up. Hegelian dialectic. Problem, reaction, solution. And guess what? Usually, the solution came before everything else. What they wanted to do, the last thing that happens in it all was their plan all along. It's like they started with what they wanted, the solution, and said, how can we get people to volunteer for this? Because normally, people is not just going to go down to their hospital, go and get something, and they're like, nah. So how can we get people to come get this? Oh, here's the problem. We'll use the media to stir up problems. They'll sit there and speak all urgent as if there's a serious issue and all these others. And then there's canned stories. There'll be canned stories to make people believe that some of these stories actually happened through the media. Fear, fear, fear. And then people, through their fear, start getting other people afraid. See? Now the media can just wait. Or just press on and press on when they start receiving phone calls, right, from the worry they are exhibiting in their communities. And now they can say, okay, it's time for step 2. There's enough scary people or afraid people to now the politicians can come and say, hold up now, we got a budget for the solution.
You keep talking about things, you keep saying it over and over and over again, and eventually people believe it. You know, you created the Federal Reserve in 1913 through lies. You create 9/11, which is another lie. Through 9/11, then you're fighting a war on terror, and now all of a sudden you go into Iraq, which was another lie, and now they're going to do Iran. You know, and it's all one thing leading to another, leading to another, leading to another. Now, I would say, what are you doing this for? What's the point of this thing? You have all the money in the world you ever want. You have all the power. I said, you know, you're hurting people. It's not a good thing. And he would say.
So then he asked, what are you doing this for? He's hanging out with the guy. He says, you're a multimillionaire. You have a good life, a good family. So that's a logical question. If you already have everything and no one is bothering you, why are you going to make life miserable for everyone else? What are you doing this for? So he wants to know the end game. Why? Being a movie producer, there's a beginning, there's a plot, and there's an ending. Right? So logically thinking, there must be an end game here. Would you mess with people and start wars and disrupt other countries and other governments? So the logical question would be, Mr. Rockefeller, your life is good. Why don't you just enjoy your life, right? What are you doing this for? Listen to this.
What do you care about the people for? Take care of yourself and you take care of your...
And listen what he answered. Rockefeller answered Aaron Russo. Why do you care about other people for? Take care of your family. We're not talking about getting rid of you. You're useful.
Your family. And then I said to him, what are the ultimate goals here? He said the ultimate goal is to get everybody in this world chipped with the truth.
The ultimate goal is to get everyone in elite Rockefeller, privately, according to Aaron Russo, told him, well, the end game is to get everybody in this world chipped with an RFID chip. Well, that would make sense. You would need to destabilize the whole world to put the mark of the beast infrastructure in places who currently doesn't have what? The infrastructure to accept the new technology. An enemy country or an opposing country would do what? They would reject your legislation that would lead to this normally. Right? Not if you topple their government and now you through your war machine, you have the finances to build that country back on the grid towards the mark of the beast. See, they're not going to build it according to what was old. They're going to build it according to where the new world is going. Y'all see this? So in a boardroom, they looked at all the countries that was resisting, wasn't on board. Computers were all different. Nothing was communicating the way it need on a world scale. And they say, listen, we got to destabilize a lot of these places and build it back where they're all on the same grid. How can we do this? Oh, I'll tell you what. Weapons of mass destruction. That'll work. Let them know that Saddam got some weapons somewhere. Okay. I'm not even going to go into September 9/11 and the planes and all that. That's a whole nother conversation. Okay. But at the end of the day, the Rockefeller, as he said, told him allegedly, the goal is to get everybody in this world chipped with an RFID chip. And that's what Zuckerberg isn't telling people. He'd rather tell you about the eyeglasses because it's really a transition. If you're willing to transition from your phone to eyeglasses, right? Something that's getting closer and closer from your hand to your head. See? From your hand to your head, getting closer and closer. Eventually, you'll accept it in you. The goal is to get everybody in this world chipped with an RFID
chip and have all money be on those chips and everything on those chips. And if anybody wants to protest what we do or violate what we want, we just turn off the chip.
That's right, microchipped. In 2005, Congress, under the pretense of immigration control and the so-called war on terrorism, passed the Real ID Act, under which it is projected by May 2008, you will be required to carry around a federal identification card, which includes...
Remember this? They're actually rolling these out in the DMVs now. I just do my passport. I will never get this.
On it a scannable barcode with your personal information. However, this barcode is only an intermediary step before the card is equipped with a VeriChip RFID tracking module, which will use radio frequencies to track your every move on the planet. If this sounds foreign to you, please note that the RFID tracking chip is already in all new American passports. And the final step is the implanted chip, which many people have already been manipulated into accepting under different pretenses.
We have a Florida family who are really pioneers in a brave new world. They have volunteered to be the first ever to have microchip identification devices implanted into their bodies.
After 9/11, I was really concerned with the security of my family.
I wouldn't mind having something planted permanently in my arm that would identify me.
In the end, everybody will be locked into a monitored control grid where every single action you perform is documented. And if you get out of line, they can just turn off your chip, for at that point in time, every single aspect of society will revolve around interactions with the chips. This is the picture that is painted for the future if you open your eyes to see it. A centralized one-world economy where everyone's moves and everyone's transactions are tracked and monitored, all rights removed. The most incredible aspect of all, these totalitarian elements will not be forced upon the people. The people will demand them. For the social manipulation of society through the generation of fear and division has completely detached humans from their sense of power and reality. A process which has been going on for centuries, if not millennia. Religion, patriotism, race, wealth, class, and every other form of arbitrary, separatist identification and thus conceit has served to create a controlled population, utterly malleable in the hands of the few. Divide and conquer is the motto, and as long as people continue to see themselves as separate from everything else, they lend themselves to being completely enslaved. The men behind the curtain know this, and they also know that if people ever realize the truth of their relationship to nature and the truth of their personal power, the entire manufactured zeitgeist they prey upon will collapse like a house of cards.
All right, everyone. We're about to go into the main feature of this discussion this evening, and it's going to be more of a dialogue than us really breaking down a whole lesson. Right? I want to make this more of an interactive conversation that even the people can be engaged with through Zoom and or the text message. And
Yes, sir. Let's do it.
Yeah. And I really appreciate the job that our production team are doing with putting up the shorts every day. It's really doing a positive aspect. It's powerful, right? What I'm witnessing, and along the lines of what I thought would happen with everyone coming to the channel every day, getting a little bit more fuel to help them get through the day, even if it's a little bit from our teachings, because sometimes we do two or 3 hours, but there's a lot of good groundbreaking points within our lessons that could be looked over if they're not highlighted. So I'm glad. I want to just thank our production team. They're doing a great job there. Now, before we go there, Elder Lawyer, and you can speak on this if you would like. Don't forget.
Yes, sir.
Last Sunday, we did a lesson, right? And we were breaking down in the academy the secret war of Edomites against our people, the children of Israel. Went to the beginning, starting with the womb, in the womb of our mother Rebecca, all the way up into our current time, right? The wars they've waged against us, Edom. And in the midst of that, at the very end, because of course you don't want to end on a note of just pointing out the negatives of Esau. And the reason why is because Esau gained opportunity to rule based on the sins we did against our forefathers. And that particular point can never be amiss, because we lose the narrative to why the Most High did what he did. If we just focus on white man, white man, white man, we put him above the God who placed the white man in place in our thoughts. We focus more so on him and not to more so give concern to why the Most High put him in position. If we view it that way, right, we as a people will become more accountable, right? One thing at the very end of that lesson that I asked AC to clip was the Cornelius piece, and I put it up, we put it online. And I titled it like this on purpose. I titled it, this was Academy piece for those who missed it. Peter accepts an Edomite who turns from idolatry. Cornelius. Now, I gave him that title. I gave him that title knowing how others, Israelites out there, would view this as a negative or false theology. Now, everything I wrote here is true. But I knew others would get offended with Cornelius being a Gentile and or an Edomite. Now, so I went to the comments. Here, now they come out of the woodworks. If you continue to read Acts 15 and 20, it pertains to Israelites, proving that the Gentiles in Acts 15 are Israelites, right? That's what one person wrote. I responded back. I responded back. Let me see my response here, if it's there. I said, okay, true. Now prove Cornelius was one of those Gentiles in Acts 15. Right? Now, why did I put that out there? I'm not trying to up him or got you him who made the comment. I gave him the challenge so he can think outside of the box. Because I know he don't intentionally put this stuff up there believing that, you know, he's doing something wrong or that it's false or whatever the case is. He truly believed what he was taught. But I responded not to down him, to challenge him to think outside of his teaching. I'm like, okay. Acts 15 and 20 pertains to Israelites. proving that the Gentiles in Acts 15 are Israelites. So, Elder Lawyer,
Yes, sir.
let's go to Acts 15. Now, for those who don't know, we teach that Cornelius was an Edomite. Right? And we can prove that. You have Israelites out there teaching that Cornelius was an Israelite. We teach Cornelius was Esau. They teach that Cornelius was an Israelite, but can't prove it. So he said, let's go to Acts 15, right? So, Elder Lawyer, let's go to Acts 15.
Yes, sir. From the top?
Acts 15, verse 14, because he went straight to 20, but let's start at Acts 15, verse 14, if you will.
Yes, sir. The book of Acts, chapter 15, verse number 14. Simeon have declared how God did at the first visit the Gentiles to take out of them a people for his name.
Okay, visit who?
Simeon have declared how God at the first did visit the Gentiles to take out of them a people for his name.
To take out a people for his name. Now, how do you know these Gentiles aren't Israelites? Because there's already a people the Most High have for his name. Israelites. Let's start there. See, that's common sense. And this is why I'm taking my time with this. The Most High already have a people for his name. Israelites. So how can these be Israelites right here? It says, Simeon have declared how God at the first did visit the Gentiles to take out of them a people for his name. Israelites are already the people for his name. So he's not going to have these Gentiles be Israelites. Or it would be no need for this passage, for this verse, for this mission. If we already going to Israelites, why even make a distinction? See? Read on.
15. And to this agree the words of the prophets as it is written.
Stop right there, Elder Lawyer. So, how do we resolve this chapter? And we'll do it a little later. We have to go to the Old Testament where it is written.
Mm-hmm.
That's the common sense thing to do, regardless of what Israelite church you belong to or where you learn from. It doesn't matter. Because as it is written is in the same Bibles we read that you read. So the answer to this is not based on what church you belong to or what faction of Israelites or sect of Israelites you are a part of. If you believe the Bible, you're going to believe that this prophecy with Peter is being fulfilled in respect of what was written in the Old Testament. I'm just helping as a teacher right now. We'll get our feelings out of the way and we'll just break this down according to as it is written. So obviously what Peter and the disciples were performing in Acts the 15th chapter was a fulfillment of a prophecy that we can find in the Old Testament. Now, what is written in the Old Testament? 16, Elder Lawyer.
Verse 16. After this, I will return and will build again the tabernacle of David, which is fallen down. And I will build again the ruins thereof, and I will set it up, that the residue of men might seek after the Lord, and all the Gentiles upon whom my name is called, saith the Lord that who doeth all these things.
Come on.
Known unto God are all his works from the beginning of the world. Wherefore my sentence is that we trouble not them which from among the Gentiles are turned to God.
So we don't trouble the Gentiles who are turned to God. We don't trouble them. Because what harm could be done if other races of people choose to do what's right and follow God's law? It can only benefit us all.
Mm-hmm.
What harm is that if an Edomite follow God's law? Now you don't have to complain about, well, the white man is killing me. Well, the white man is doing this, or the white man. Now he's accountable to something. You know what, Elder Lawyer? Something came and I did a quote earlier. Let me see if I can find this quote. Because I'm still working on a few things. Let me find this quote real quick. I think this is it.
Stands for nothing, cannot be held accountable to anything. A man that stands for nothing cannot be held accountable to anything and or anyone.
A man that stands for nothing isn't accountable to anything or anyone. Right?
Right.
Right? I need y'all to think about that. If the white man and other nations were to follow God's law, wouldn't that benefit all of us?
Mm-hmm.
Because now their conscience is towards doing what's right according to God. It can only transfer to us as something good. Now they can't undermine, destroy us, or even try to plot against us or lie to us without some level of self-accountability. Or do you just want to complain about how evil people are? See? So wherefore my sentence is that we trouble not them which from among the Gentiles are turned to God. Read.
But that we write unto them that they abstain from pollutions of idols, and from fornication, and from things strangled, and from blood.
Read.
For Moses of old time have in every city them that preach him, being read in the synagogues every Sabbath.
And when Moses came out of Egypt with the Israelites, there was a mixed multitude, folks. There was also Gentiles amongst the camps. See, and guess what? This doesn't minimize who we are just because we can state the benefits that comes from Gentiles who do right according to God's law. See? Now, the guy that made that comment, let me go back to the comment real quick, Elder. He wrote, Acts 15 and 20 pertains to Israelites, even though the scriptures say Gentiles. Now, is there instances in the New Testament where Israelites in a Gentile state of mind are considered Gentiles by the circumcision? Yes. There are instances that you can show where Israelites who didn't know the truth were acting like Gentiles and were called Gentiles by their own brothers. But Cornelius is not it. This chapter isn't speaking of Israelites in a Gentile state of mind. How do you know this? Well, we go back to as it is written. Right? So now, how do we know these are Gentiles? And how does it go back to who? Cornelius. Well, Peter visited, Cornelius came to visit him. And the Most High showed a vision of unclean foods. 3 times he was being convinced to eat something that he knew was unlawful according to the Bible, according to the Torah. When he awakened from his vision, he had no idea why the Most High was trying to convince him to eat something unclean. Well, it had nothing to do with physical food. The Most High was preparing him to deal with an Edomite, an Italian. That's right. And it's in that order, according to the Old Testament, that's right, that Peter and the disciples are fulfilling. That's right. It says Edom and all the Gentiles that are called by the Most High's name is what Acts, the 15th chapter, is fulfilling. How do you know this? Elder Lawyer, I need you to read Acts 15, verse 14 again.
Yes, sir. Acts 15 and 14. Simeon have declared how God at the first did visit the Gentiles to take out of them a people for his name.
Read.
And to this agree the words of the prophets as it is written. After this, I will return and will build again the tabernacle of David, which is fallen down, and will build again the ruins thereof, and I will set it up, that the residue of men might seek after the Lord, and all the Gentiles upon whom my name is called, saith the Lord, who doeth all these things.
Who doeth all these things. Now, let's go to the fulfillment of this as it is written. Amos, the 9th chapter, is where Peter and the disciples are quoting from in the book of Acts. They're quoting from, that's right, Amos, the 9th chapter. This is where the disciples are quoting from. Their interaction with the Gentiles is what they are fulfilling out of this particular chapter. Amos 9.
Yes, sir.
Amos
9 verse.
Let's start at 9 and 11.
Yes, sir. Amos 9 verse 11. In that day I will raise up the tabernacle of David that is fallen, and close up the breaches thereof. And I will raise up his ruins, and I will build it as in the days of old.
Let's start there. So, of course, the disciples being under Christ, this ministry through Peter was going to what? Mend the breach between Judah and Israel to bring the 12 tribes back together under one king, Christ, like it once was under David. So that's one step of the gospel led by Peter, Simeon, the disciples. So yes, this isn't excluding Israelites because it's bringing the 12 tribes together, right? Now let's see what the next steps are because the 12 tribes are together here in this verse. Read the 11th.
12.
That they may what?
That they may possess the remnant of Edom.
Stop right there. That's where the Cornelius prophecy was fulfilled. Simeon declared that he first visited the Gentiles to take out a people for his name. Now you can't say this Edomite is an Israelite right here. That they may possess the remnant of Edom, read.
And of all the heathen which are called by my name.
All the Gentiles, heathens that are called by my name. This is where Peter is quoting right here from Acts 15. Read. Saith
the Lord that doeth this.
Who's doing this?
The Lord.
And this would be common sense. Because you cannot say Esau, the elder, shall serve the younger. See? How can Esau serve the younger if he's not given an opportunity to make it into the kingdom to serve? That's why it states right here why the Gentiles will be brought in to the ministry. That they may possess. Who's the they? The Israelites who are under Christ, united like we once were under David. And I will build it at the days of old. Now that the Israelites are together under Christ, that they may possess the remnant of Edom and all the heathen which are Gentiles, which are called by my name. So you can't say the Gentiles in Amos 9 and 12 are Israelites. Why? Because the 11th verse, the verse prior, the verse right here, is showing the 12 tribes already together without a breach. I'm teaching you right now. So there's no way you can get around this because Peter and them wasn't doing what they wanted to do. They were fulfilling what we're reading here. Now, you got a problem if you're not going to teach other nations when this is what the disciples were doing. But don't try to claim something is wrong with the Bible or with us. That's your choice to deny other races of people when the disciples didn't. Okay? So don't try to get mad at us because your teachers aren't telling you the true gospel. So this is why it shows Edom first. Because Cornelius had to be converted under Peter. So that when Paul came and said, well, the Gentiles, when there was this fuss whether or not the Gentiles should be circumcised, Peter understood that vision of these unclean foods and all this and knew that there was a remnant according to prophecy that the disciples had to teach. Huh? So you're barking up the wrong tree here coming to us claiming that the people in Acts, the 15th chapter, are Israelites. It doesn't make sense. The Israelites are already together when the breach is sealed through Christ. See? And I know a lot of these young guys are learning for the first time and, and are zealous towards what their teachers have given them. I was there. So they try to get online and spar and all that, but you barking up the wrong tree. Go debate one of those, all due respect, one of those unlearned Christians out there. You're barking up the wrong tree because I can teach you what you know because I've taught it. Okay? I'm sparking all those guys who claiming that Cornelius was an Israelite. I was there when they first came up with it. I know why they came up with it. Okay? That's number one and number two. And they was only showing a picture of a black person, okay, in some Italian court to try to show that black people were amongst Italians. I didn't need that picture to know that blacks were amongst Italians. I knew history. I knew about when Hannibal went over the Rubicon. I knew that there's black people all in Italy, but Cornelius ain't one of those. Okay, because it would totally undo the prophecy. Right? So I'm going to get off this in 1 second, Elder. I want to show one other thing. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Then we go down. And we putting up a lot of Academy stuff now, just so you can have snippets on it. Right? Someone said, wow, it's crazy this video was uploaded today because I was just talking to an East Indian friend of mine about this. Right? Now, look, now this person, now I'm going to show you how they do it, folks. I'm going to go here. Now, you see this? Ezra Israel. This is what we call a troll page. Now, this is a guy that's with another Israelite group, but used this page to troll. All right? This is a troll page. So let's go back to his comment.
Folks,
let's go back to his comment. Ezra Israel. Because I know they be looking. Let's go back to his comment. Where is he? Yeah, right here. Right here. No scripture says Cornelius was an Edomite. Right? No. The scripture said he was from the Italian band. And he was a Gentile from the Italian band. Simeon declared that he visited first the Gentiles to take a people out of people for his name. Well, when you go to as it is written, it tell you in Acts the 9th chapter to do what? To convince the remnant of Edom and all the Gentiles that are called heathen that are called by his name. It's the Lord that doeth this. So Cornelius is a fulfillment of that Edom written of in Amos, the 9th chapter and the 12th verse. See how you use the precepts there? So, no scripture says Cornelius was an Edomite. So, I wanted to see some of the responses out there with some of the Academy stuff we put up there because, you know, one thing I like about the Academy is straight teaching, precepts, it's straight class, right? Right? Then someone comes and says, say it loud, Now, as you can see, this is like a great millstone on one of these characters, right? Then another one comes, because, you know, they're probably on some type of chat page or some type of group now talking about it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where is Cornelius from in the Bible? Sisera. Cornelius lived in Sisera, the political capital of Judea under Herod and Romans. Given that Jerusalem was the holy city of the Jews, it would have been needlessly provocative for the Romans to establish their headquarters there. He was an Israelite, brother. Who said that the Romans established a headquarters there? So you have to watch, and this is what, brothers and sisters, I'm using this as a case study so you can understand how these guys operate. Instead of answering the question directly, they'll change the subject. And you'll engage the change, not realizing they're ducking the main point. See, but they got the right one. Because young guys like this, I used to teach back then. I know how they think because I was one of them. Okay? Because if he's talking to me, I'm not dealing with this conversation about where a headquarters was set up. Because then the conversation goes to, well, you mean to tell me there was no white people in Sisera? But that's where he want the conversation to go. Of course there were white people there. But that ain't the topic. Prove to me Cornelius was an Israelite. And if you think that you're going to use this about a political capital in Judea to convince us, that ain't so, because I can prove that white people lived in that area too. You know Herod the Great was an Edomite, right? Governor over Judea. The same place you're talking about. A white Edomite was governor over the land. So what are you talking about? Now, here's another one, Elder. Right? I'm going to get there for a second. Now, this is where the shaming tactics come in. Right? When they can't teach or they got flawed doctrine, Elder, then they revert to, I would say, sensitive shaming.
Right.
See, and it doesn't, that's not a masculine trait, because it doesn't work here. These people want to save Esau. We can't save anyone.
That's right.
Let's make it clear. We can't save anyone.
Mm-hmm.
We're working to save ourselves. So shaming doesn't work here. We're doing the gospel of Christ. And then it's up to a Gentile whether or not they want to do what's right and follow Christ to get that reward that comes with them serving him. We're here to plant seeds. Christ saves.
That's right.
We plant seeds, folks. Christ saves. So shaming tactics only work when you are debating children. Right? So let's go down here. Here's another one. Cornelius was not an Edomite. How long are you going to continue to teach this madness, sir? Until you prove it wrong.
Mm.
And what did I do? I said, and then listen, this is what I said. Call in Wednesday and prove he wasn't an Edomite. Now, this is what I'm going to do, Elder, before we go into the main part of our discussion today. And AC, I know you're looking. I'm going to need you to clip this part of the video where the Gathering of Christ Church, Elder Ricard issues this challenge. If any Israelite out there can prove to me using the Bible that Cornelius was an Israelite, I don't want to hear you go to Acts, the 2nd chapter, where everybody was there out of all these nations, okay, out of all the nations that took the gospel back, because you can't prove Cornelius was there. Okay? I don't want to see you try to go to Revelation, the 7th chapter, where it says all people out of every nation and kindreds and tongues, after it broke down the 12 tribes of Israel, in the verses prior. Don't try to go there because Cornelius isn't there either. It doesn't say Cornelius. So make sure you clip this, AC. If any Israelite out there who claim that Cornelius was an Israelite, if you can prove that, number one, whatever church you belong to, and my word is bond, I will donate as an offering out of my own money $1,000 to your church. We will dismantle the Gathering of Christ Church, and we will join up under you and apologize for ever saying that Cornelius was anything else outside of an Israelite publicly. And you'd have to, listen, you can't prove it privately. You got to prove it right here. And I'll be quiet and say, okay, show us out of the Bible that Cornelius was an Israelite. And I'll be absolutely silent. That's fair. If you can't prove that Cornelius was an Israelite, you would have to apologize and say, I'm sorry for emphasizing or bringing forth something that's false or inconclusive. You would say, I apologize and I'm willing to go back and learn before speaking going forward. Does that sound fair to you, Elder?
Sir.
That sounds fair, right? That sounds fair. If you can't, you would apologize. That's it. And say that, okay, I'm going to do further study. But I'm going to tell you why you're not going to be able to do it. I'm going to tell you why you don't want to admit that Cornelius is a Gentile or Edomite. Because if he's a non-Israelite, it's all the same. That means you'd have to switch up everything you're teaching. See? You have to switch everything up because you have a full doctrine just based on hating other people. And you're blinded by that hate. And through that blindness, you're seeing the scriptures through error. See? So again, you have to come in, not anonymous, show your face like I'm showing my face. Only thing I'm going to do is hold up the Bible, just like we do with Elder Lawyer and I, and let you break down each scripture. And we're not going to say nothing. If you can prove Cornelius is an Israelite out of the Bible, Cornelius, whatever church or organization you belong to, I'll immediately, out of my own money, not the church's money, give that church $1,000 offering. On top of that, we'll break down, and that'll be the end of the Gathering of Christ Church. And we'll apologize for teaching otherwise. That's simple, right? Right? That's fair. And whatever church is teaching you, you must guide it. You know what I mean? I'll be there with bells on this Sabbath. Okay? Now, Elder Lawyer, for the main event. for the main event. All right. Let's get here. For the main event, the Gentiles are now realizing who are the chosen is the topic. Check this out, lawyer. I know you didn't hear this yet. Usually I wait for you to hear it live with all of us. All right? And I need your opinion on this. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Listen to what she's just asking out of nowhere.
I don't mean to say this like to be disrespectful, and maybe this is, some people are gonna think this sounds dumb, but I feel like there's a deeper reason why, you know, people of color and specifically the Black community have been relentlessly persecuted. Like, I mean, just the things that happened during slavery alone, like, were insane. But I don't know, the more I learn about Black history and the ways that, you know, people who literally worked in the government, like the CIA, all these different people in power were trying to ruin the Black community. And it makes me think, dude, I feel like, is there something more going on here than just racism? Because it's like, come on, you're telling me you're doing all of this stuff just because you don't like someone's skin color? I feel like, what if, I have this theory that, like, what if Black people have some type of superpower? Like, what if they have, I don't know, if they're just born with something very valuable that we don't really know about, but maybe, you know, like I said, these people, these rich people and these people in power, maybe they figured it out a long time ago, and maybe that's why they were like, oh, we have to, like, get rid of them, blah, blah, blah. I don't know. I feel like maybe they have something special that we are not taught about that is linked to them being people of color, you know? And I've seen some Black creators come on here and try to explain how special it is to have melanin in your skin and how it has all these different properties. But I don't know, I just feel like I have this theory that this goes so much deeper than maybe a lot of us realize, because I'm sorry, but I don't think you're gonna go out of your way for all these hundreds and hundreds of years to try to ruin one group of people over something as silly as, oh, their skin is a different color. Like, I feel like there's something that we don't know.
There's something, Elder Lawyer, that we don't know. When you hear this right off the top, what comes to mind when you just heard that, Elder Lawyer?
Which aspect in particular?
Where she said it has to be something more than these people being Black or people of color. If governments for hundreds of years would do everything to sabotage and to continue to destroy these people, it must be something special. There must be a superpower or something that the elite know about that they're not telling the people.
Right, which is common sense. I think that we have belabored the point that you have other nations of the earth that are dark-skinned, maybe just as dark as us, some even darker, but they don't experience the same oppression. They don't get the same attention that we get when it comes to certain aspects of oppression, continuously finding ways to keep us in a state of servitude. You know, other nations don't go through that, even those who are just as dark. So I say that to say that it can't just be the color aspect. The East Indians are not going through the same thing we're going through, as well as many other nations. So, yes, there is something different about the people in the United States as far as when you talk about so-called Black people. There's an obvious difference as far as our spirit, how we've been able to overcome this oppression and the things that have happened to us throughout the centuries, throughout ages. And I think that we have all come to the conclusion that it's based upon the fact that we are truly the people of God. It's not the melanin, It's not this other stuff that people are trying to explain. You know, people try to go into the melanin thing and try to just single it down to the melanin, but it's deeper than that. The Most High put his spirit on a specific people in this earth. The Most High has a chosen people in this earth. And we've proved time and time again that we are in fact those chosen people, and we can prove that through the Bible. But that's the missing piece. If you want to ask what's the missing piece, what's the point, what is it, the thing that we're not getting? What you're not getting is that these people in the Americas, the so-called blacks, Native Indians, Hispanics, they are in fact the children of Israel. That's the missing piece to your puzzle.
Look at that. People already putting scriptures. It's deep that someone put Jeremiah 16 and 19 in the chat, right, Elder Lawyer?
Yes, sir.
Right.
That's the first scripture that comes to mind.
Let me tell you, it's so deep, right? I mean, look at what scripture I have in waiting just now. Jeremiah 16 and 19.
Mm-hmm.
See, but I'm going to tell you the part for me that's fascinating. That's fascinating. Let me get it. 1 second here. Here's the piece, Elder Lawyer, that's fascinating to me. People all over the earth are coming to a logical conclusion in areas that they wouldn't have cared in times past. Or it could be with TikTok and other things out there. Maybe they've always thought this, but never had the outlet to actually say what they were thinking. Right? What's fascinating to me is that people everywhere is understanding that it's beyond just race or us being black.
Right.
They was like, well, hold up. Because why this set of blacks? Why isn't that they not leaning on us to go undermine the East Indians and Asians? Or the darker Somalians and the darker Hamites? Why aren't they using us as political pawns? They have melanin. Why is it our set of black people in certain areas are being subjugated unless they know something? But then she said something deep. She says, as if they possess a superpower. She's absolutely correct. She's absolutely correct. That superpower is our what? Our connection since the ancients with the Almighty. That connection. It's not like any other connection that any race have ever had to a God they serve. We're connected to the source. We're God's chosen, like you've mentioned earlier. But it's fascinating to me, Elder Lawyer, that other nations, even without being taught anything, it's as if they are actually coming to the same conclusions but need someone to connect the dots. And why am I saying that? This is why Peter and the disciples went to the Gentiles. You have to understand this because no one can connect the dots. No one can truly understand what's going on politically, geopolitically, and spiritually without the true gospel being taught throughout the earth. And I tell you, if she was to run into one of our lessons, she'll say, you know what? It makes absolute sense now. Why? Elder Lawyer, let's get 2 Ezra 6, 8, and 9 out of the Apocrypha.
Yes, sir.
And guess what? Us being the chosen isn't anything to boast about.
Mm-hmm.
Listen to what I'm telling you, brothers and sisters. The more we figure this out, the more hell they're going to give our people. See? So this is nothing to boast. The more we come to the knowledge of the truth, they're going to do what? They're going to put us in a position where the position they're going to put us in is where, guess what? Okay, since you're God's people, we're going to put you under circumstances where you'll definitely need them. Okay? We're going to test whether or not your God will save you through this. And guess what? It was written in the Apocrypha, what they think. Oh, you're saying you're the chosen? I'll tell you what, we're gonna attack you, and let's see if your God save you out of the attacks. Why do you think out of nowhere they're shutting down all the government jobs where the majority of our sisters, have gainful employment? I'm gonna tell you, they already started attacking the men. 60s, up to 70s, 80s, 90s, the crack epidemic, incarceration, preferring the girls over boys, separating the family, leaning all the family court laws against the men. And now they make it where the women will be the main breadwinners in a society, because no men are going to stay in a relationship being what? Subjugated, emasculated. So they set the tone in our communities this way, so that now the woman can be the main breadwinner through the social programs, the education. They even have money initially, but Trump cut that out, where they just put it straight out there. This is what we have for black women, and just ignoring black men altogether. And look what happened. The government jobs, all of that, they just cut. Boom. Over. They're like, okay, if you're the chosen people, let's see if your God save you. See if your God save you. Right? So this is what, and you know what? Those with faith is going to stand with the Almighty. Those without faith are going to bow to Satan and capitulate. Second Esdras, Elder Lawyer 6. Second Esdras 6, and let's read the 9th verse. Matter of fact, 6 and 8. A matter of fact, Elder Lawyer, start at 7.
Second Ezra 6, verse number 7. Then answered I and said, which shall be the parting asunder of the times? Or when shall be the end of the first, and the beginning of it that followeth?
Now, what is Ezra asking? What is Ezra asking here? Well, what shall be the parting asunder of the times? And when shall be the end of the first, and the beginning of that followeth? Ezra is asking the Most High, when will God's people rule as was prophesied? See, and this is what this young lady don't understand. Esau and Jacob are brothers. We're Jacob. They're Esau. The bloodline of promise is through Abraham. See? Is through Abraham. Which means, when it comes to rulership on the earth, one of Abraham's sons must rule. Listen to what I'm showing you. Abraham, Isaac. From Isaac came Jacob and Esau. We both were born with the ruler gene. We both were born to have dominion. Either he's going to rule, or we are going to rule. and Esau know it. Ishmael is in the mix because he came out of Abraham, but our father chose Isaac over him. Ishmael became who? The Saudi Arabians, who chose Islam now, a pagan religion, to rival the doctrine that came through the true Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, all the way to Christ. So that's why Ishmael is always in the mix with Esau, undermining us. Ezra was asking the Most High a question. When will Israel receive their promise to rule? Listen to this. This is why Esau exhibits sabotage, divide and conquer, division against us, separating our families, having gender wars to keep us off tilted, criminalize us, demonize us. This is why his time is running out. So as we get closer to our dominion, the more birth pains as Israel gets delivered through this trouble, the closer we get to our dominion, the more trouble Esau is going to give us. Now you notice, I understand that Esau is going to give us turmoil and hell, but it doesn't take away from us actually doing what? Delivering the opportunity to their children to turn away from the wickedness of their forefathers, because that's what Christ set in Peter. So that there's no excuse for Esau. If he had a chance to repent and didn't choose to do so, he suffered those consequences. But he cannot say that, guess what? There was no opportunity for me because the Israelites in Christ denied me an opportunity to show I was different. He'll never be able to say that. Read this, Elder Lawyer. For Esau,
yes, sir.
Read the 8th verse again.
Yes, sir. Verse 8. And he said unto me, from Abraham unto Isaac, when Jacob and Esau were born of him, Jacob's hand held first the hill of Esau. For Esau is the end of the world.
Esau is the what?
For Esau is the end of the world.
So Esau would be ruling at the end of the world. Ezra was asking how much time will it be before Jacob receives his time on earth. And the Most High said, well, guess what? We're between the hands and the hills. Esau is the end of the world, Ezra. He will be ruling at the end. Read.
And Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth.
You will come in right after Esau's fall, without separation. So if Esau understands the prophecy having our Torah and Tanakh, it would be in his political interest and his survival interest for power to do everything he can to stave off this prophecy. Esau understands once he falls, he'll never return to power. So it's deeper than just racism or melanin. He understands that once Christ returns, that's the Israelites' kingdom that will never fail. And all nations, not just Esau, must take off their crowns for the one king, So that's why there's racism. It's in the prophecy. We're God's people. The closer we come to the kingdom, the more hell they'll give us. And understand this, folks. That's the only thing that makes sense. And guess what? Other nations know this too. They know when they come to this country or any place we live, financed by the bankers, guess what? They know that their position is to undermine us and to stifle our progression. They're buffers. They know that their reward is to strategically harm us, to stop us from ever coming together and assuming our true position as God's people. And by doing so, Esau, the imperialistic powers, rewards them. Hit that like button. Man, we up 2,400 right now. Elder Lawyer, I'm going to put this up real quick. I'll be right back, but let's hear a talk and I'll be right back.
Yes, sir.
If you got to take a break real quick, you can. But let me put it up and let's hear a one more time. Huh?
Yes, sir, we'll do.
All right.
I don't mean to say this like to be disrespectful, and maybe some people are going to think this sounds dumb, but I feel like there's a deeper reason why, people of color and specifically the Black community have been relentlessly persecuted. Just the things that happened during slavery alone, were insane. But I don't know, the more I learn about Black history and the ways that, people who literally worked in the government, like the CIA, all these different people in power were trying to ruin the Black community. And it makes me think, dude, I feel like, is there something more going on here than just racism? Because it's like, come on, you're telling me you're doing all of this stuff just because you don't like someone's skin color? I feel like, I have this theory that, what if Black people have some type of superpower? What if they have, I don't know, if they're just born with something very valuable that we don't really know about, but maybe, like I said, these rich people and these people in power, maybe they figured it out a long time ago, and maybe that's why they were like, oh, we have to get rid of them, blah blah blah. I don't know, I feel like maybe they have something special that we are not taught about that is linked to them being people of color, And I've seen some Black creators come on here and try to explain how special it is to have melanin in your skin and how it has all these different properties. But I don't know, I just feel like I have this theory that this goes so much deeper than maybe a lot of us realize, because I'm sorry, but I don't think you're gonna go out of your way for all these hundreds and hundreds of years to try to ruin one group of people over something as silly as, oh, their skin is a different color. I feel like there's something that we don't know.
There's something that we don't know. Well, brothers and sisters, I'm interested to hear what y'all would have to say on this, but let me go through a few things real quick. Let me go through a few things to give this context, right? And wait till a lawyer come back real quick. Let lawyer come here real quick. Quite interesting. She said as if there's some type of superpower. Interesting, isn't it? Well, let's see if we can help her out. All right. What I'm gonna do first and foremost, 2,400 people hit the like button. Hit the like button. We're going to go in. Matter of fact, copy link. One second. Copy, cut. All right. First and foremost, what I'll do here, delete. There goes the Zoom link for those who have an opinion on what we're talking about tonight. If y'all want to chime in. If you can't come in through the message, you can actually text the message and I can bring you in under certain circumstances. If you would like to say something. Oh, someone has the sister's page. Okay, I'm going to make sure we go to the sister's page. Right? But I'm not going to do this. I don't want everybody bombarding her page. But thank you. 704 gave me the sister's page. Okay. Now, two things. The link I put in, if those want to talk about, emphasize, or want to further the discussion we're having already here concerning the Gentiles, are starting to figure this out. Maybe some of you out there are dealing with your own experiences where you can actually begin to sense that the other nations are starting to figure this out also. That we're not regular people. Okay? Number one. Let me make this clear. There's no way any nation could have enslaved us. The white man or the Edomites being fewer in number, unless there was some divine intervention.
Right.
Even that's beyond the white man's power.
Mm-hmm.
Understand this, folks. The only explanation that makes sense is that we're the chosen people of God and Esau time is running out. To why you're witnessing so much hatred and racism and policy that's being drafted against one group of people in the earth. Elder Lawyer, this is what she probably didn't understand, the curse. Let's go to Deuteronomy 28 real quick.
Yes, sir.
And someone says they found her page. I'll tell you what you can do is, if you found her page, put the link to this lesson in her, in one of her chats, and let her know that maybe if she was to click onto one of these videos, it would answer her questions. Right? Go in here to Deuteronomy 28 that answers all of her questions. Let me tell you, folks, they don't care if our people are Buddhist. They don't care if we're Muslims. They don't care if we are pagan Christians. Folks, they don't care if our people are in the conscious community and are dealing with hoodoo and voodoo. They don't care about that. You let our people start saying that we're the children of Israel. Everything goes out the window at that point. The freedom of religion, the freedom of expression, the freedom of speech, all the freedoms they would afford us in our ignorance are instantly taken away. I need y'all to examine that, folks. We can identify as, let me tell you, this is deep in of itself. Let me tell you, they would celebrate us. Listen to this. They'll celebrate black men who identify as women. But a black man cannot identify as an Israelite. I need y'all to check that out. How crazy that is. They're letting people be whatever they want without restriction. But it's that one thing. When our brothers and sisters start saying that we are from the lost tribes of Israel and we have history and genealogy to back it up, that's when everyone go haywire and all of our freedoms are now attacked. It must be something to it. And what the young lady is fishing for, what she have actually concluded in herself without knowing the details, is that yes, there is a superpower in us. We're the chosen people of God. We're what they're trying to be through religion. See, I'm not a Jew or an Israelite based on what religion I follow. See? That doesn't make me an Israelite or a Jew. What makes me an Israelite is through our bloodline linked directly to the promised seed, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Our blood is royalty. See? And that's why they've been doing all these experiments on us, testing our blood, the Tuskegee experiment. That's why they put all these diseases in our neighborhoods. Every place we go into, even parts of Africa, they disease our waters and claim it's malaria. It's in our blood. We're royalty. See? It's in our blood, and they know it. Elder Lawyer, let's read Deuteronomy 28 real quick.
Yes, sir. Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 1. And it shall come to pass, if thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe and to do all his commandments, which I command thee this day, that the Lord thy God will set thee on high above all nations of the earth.
The Most High said that if Israel was to follow his laws, statutes, and commandments, God's people, physical people of Israel who walked out of Egypt, that he would set us above all people of the earth. See? Now, what happens if we decided not to follow the laws? Read the 15th verse.
Yes, sir. Verse 15. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee.
That all these curses written of in this chapter will overtake your children. As long as you follow God, the same God who led you out of Egypt, he would go before you in any war. He would protect you from your enemies. but it comes with the responsibility of upholding the morality that was given you through Moses. See? Let's go down to the 40 and let's show you that this is what our God said before the so-called white man was given power. And that's right. He was given power.
That's right.
It was our God who gave him power. Why? Because if we're not in position according to this prophecy, our older brother Esau gets what? The levers of power by default. So what do Esau do? Well, he flood the zone, any place we live, by letting all of these Gentiles come over with different religions to keep us distracted, to keep us what? Redirected from the original path. He'll pay to have somebody come up and set up a yoga shop, Buddha shop. He'll finance what love got to do with it and show our sister who's already suffering through abuse getting healed through becoming a Buddhist, knowing that other sisters in our community are suffering and will take that choice instead of coming back to the God of our forefathers. They'll finance any other religion. They'll pay money for Muslims to come over after they claim that Muslims were terrorists, but they don't mind paying them to come over our neighborhoods and build mosques. Because it misdirects us from the path. All the curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee. So what would Esau do? He would look at all these curses and put what? Laws in place to keep these laws on our children generationally. He'll look at this and say, we must keep these people in the position that had their God go to war with them. We must keep them in a position where their God will view them as sinners. As long as these people are sinners, Esau rules by default. '46th verse.
Yes, sir. 46. And they shall be upon thee for a sign and for a wonder, and upon thy seed forever.
And upon thy what?
And upon thy seed forever.
So you will see the curses on these same people's children. And that's the sign to know that you are what? In the presence of the children of Israel. When you see the curses on these people, you cannot relate these curses to any other race of people on the earth. And that will be a sign for those who's watching these people get abused, get harmed, being looked down upon. You'll see that sign and say, you know what? These must be the people God was talking about in Deuteronomy. It's a sign for those who are looking for God's people. And why is that sign of the curses so significant? Well, if you see a sign of McDonald's, you're not going to go into McDonald's and ask for the Whopper. The sign shows forth what? The products that's in that particular enterprise. So when you see a sign that only relates to a certain demographic of people, that's a sign of our God telling you you're in the presence of who? The sons and daughters of Jacob. So it doesn't matter if time goes by and we're taught we're somebody else. What we can escape are the curses in Deuteronomy 28. And even Jewish people today who are white, they can't relate to none of these curses. When you look at Deuteronomy 28, you show me where white people were sold on auction blocks in the millions by another race of people. That have never happened. Esau is a warrior. You think he would have allowed that to happen in the millions without going to war? So don't let them gaslight you by claiming, well, there's been some level of slavery and servitude amongst all races of people. Folks, there's a difference between indigent servitude and agreeable servitude. There's a difference between that and what happened to us. So you can't even relate to, there's always been slavery amongst other people. Not to the magnitude of the transatlantic slave trade. That's the sign. That's the sign. And that sign will be amongst their children. The seed forever. Elder Lawyer, now let's go down to the 48th verse.
Yes, sir. Verse 48. Therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies, which the Lord shall send against thee, in hunger and in thirst, and in nakedness, and in want of all things.
In want of all things. Go ahead.
And he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until he have destroyed thee.
Until he have destroyed thee. Therefore, you must go to him for everything. Hunger, thirst, nakedness. See? You must depend on them to sustain life. That's a curse. Right? And then if you even go here, right? Here's another sign. A yoke of iron. A yoke of iron on the neck. Look at this. A yoke of iron on the neck. Look at that. A yoke of iron. Look at that. That's what they did to us in slavery. The river of Gambia, each party having from 100 to 150 slaves. The log yokes are made of the roots of trees so heavy as to make it extremely difficult for the persons who wear them to walk. And when we got to the Americas, they used iron yokes. They used iron yokes in the Americas. A yoke of iron. So that what? So that with the yoke, we could carry 4 baskets with our arms and have 6 arms. All right? Let's go back, Elder Lawyer.
Yes, sir. Verse 49. The Lord shall bring a nation against thee from far, from the end of the earth, as swift as the eagle flieth. A nation whose tongue thou shalt not understand.
The eagle,
a nation of,
the eagle represents Esau. The bald eagle represents Esau. The book of Obadiah states, though thou exalt thyself as the eagle. He sent the Edomites against us. Why? For disobeying his law. When we begin to come back to his laws, Esau loses his power over us. See? This is why they'll promote what? Debauchery. So the lowest subsets of our community and promote them as the image for God's people internationally. If they promote, a brother showed me a picture of Nicki Minaj, that's a stupid name, with her feet up on a speaker in a pose like a Shiva goddess today. See? This is why they'll continually put money behind debauchery and evil, and it's time for our people to stand up and just shame our people out of the paint. Who's willing to sacrifice the image of their people for worldly gain. Okay, now, Shamal just sent me something. What we got there? Before we do that, let's finish this up.
Yes, sir. The book of Deuteronomy 28 and
go down
50.
Go down to 64.
Yes, sir. Verse 64. And the Lord shall scatter thee among all people from the one end of the earth even unto the other. And there thou shalt serve other gods, which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, even wood and stone.
And we're going to be serving other gods, learning these whack religions from the Gentiles, like Hinduism, Buddhism, pagan Christianity, worshiping a rock over there in Mecca. That's a curse for disobeying our God. Our God said, if you want to serve these other gods, then I'm going to show you what it means to be under their people. And now these people have given us hell. This is what we chose, disobeying the law. So how do we get from up under this curse? We go back to the law. Go. That's right. You must accept Christ, which is the path towards the kingdom. Pick up this law and the curse ceases. That's when the communication begins to what? Connect like it was before captivity. We must walk away from all pagan religions. And then you have what? The ridiculous so-called conscious community, a cesspool of filthiness and straight degradation. They'll always incentivize those particular conscious group communities because they're talking in circles about nothing. Talking about the greatness of Egypt. They don't even know about Egypt. Them Arabs over there looking at you like, man, get out of here. We don't acknowledge your Egyptology. That Hotep garbage. That's another thing where they're not accountable for anything. That's why they're against the Bible. At least, let me tell you. Then they try to point to what pastors and all that does. But I'll tell you what, at least if you claim the Bible, that's something that other people can hold you to. That's something that people can actually hold you to, because if you claim to follow the Bible, now people can say, well, hold up. We can hold you to that. Now we can see you a dishonorable person if you claim to uphold these tenets, and now you're publicly breaking these tenets according to what your God said was right or wrong. And this is why these conscious community elders, that's why they don't want to deal with the Bible, because then you can't hold them to anything. You can't hold them to anything. I'm like looking like this satanic evil guy who's just running around the whole country, always this so-called Umar from Philadelphia. And the only thing every opportunity he gets, he try to come against the Bible. When guess what? If he followed the Bible, at least the people out there could hold him to something. He would be accountable to something. But this is why they don't want to deal with the Bible. Because now they can loosely operate without anyone blaming them for something, because everything they do is subjective. You understand? Because immediately if this guy claimed that, if anybody in the Bible would know what a thief looks like. Thou shalt not steal, brother. You can't make an oath and then break the oath. This is why they don't, these conscious community nut jobs, that's why they don't want to deal with the Bible, because the Bible holds them to something. You can't say a school is coming every year for 17 years, for 10, 15 years, and not have people look at you like, well, hold up, man. What's up with you? But I digress. That's why I booted him off our broadcast 10 years ago when he came on. 10 years ago. He gonna try to talk with me. Yeah. Oh yeah, well, there's many Bibles. I got many Bibles. I'm like, well, brother, turn on your camera and get one.
Right.
And what did he do? He spazzed out emotionally like an unkept, uncivilized spirit. I don't got time to deal with no Bible. Hey, I got a school to build for our boys. I'm like, get the guy a hook. Get him up. Who got this guy on my broadcast? He's a waste of time. That's another reason why they will allow cats like that and give them the notoriety of the Breakfast Club and all that with millions. Because what? People like him keep us under a curse. Let me tell you, they allow us on the Breakfast Club one time. All of them will get fired. Every last one of them. Charlemagne, and they'll get fired immediately if they let me on the Breakfast Club. They would get fired. Not that they would say anything wrong. It's what they would allow us to say. We know what it is for people to lose whole radio stations. And that's what happens when you're bringing forth the truth. Last curse, Elder Lloyd, Deuteronomy 28 and 68.
Yes, sir. Verse 68. And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships.
With ships. Egypt is bondage. Exodus 13 and 3 means the house of bondage. A second time like we were coming out of Egypt. By the means of ships. White Jewish people cannot stake claim to this particular prophecy. They were on the other end of this prophecy. They were dealing with what? Our people as merchandise. They were dealing with the bill of sales. They were dealing with the distribution of ports from one port to the next. They were putting us on auction blocks. So this have nothing to do with what religion you're from. We are a people, God's people, who suffered under this curse. And this is how Esau became so powerful. Hundreds of years of his brother Jacob working for free labor. Which did what? It's the foundation of the Roman economy. The stock market and everything we see today, the trading and everything you see, started with our people, what? Working under free labor. And this is how Esau consolidated power. according to this curse. So again, shall go into Egypt again by ships. Read.
By the way whereof I spake unto thee, thou shalt see it no more again.
Thou shalt see it no more again. This is our last captivity. We went from the Babylonian Assyrian to the Babylonian Assyrian, the Persian Medo Empire, all the way over to the Roman Empire. Persia, Medes, Greeks, Romans, and we're still under the what? The tail end of the Roman Empire. America is an extension of that empire. We went through all those empires, and the Most High said this captivity that our forefathers, that we went through, would be the last one. Thou shalt see it no more again. Read.
And there ye shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen.
A slave
and no
man, a slave man and a slave woman. Read.
And no man shall buy you.
Buy means redeem. No man can get us out of this condition. The only man who could come and do it was Christ, because what? He purchased us with his blood. That no physical man will be able to put us in this, because why? Including the white man, because the white man didn't put us in captivity. Our God did, for disobedience, for disobeying the laws given to Moses. That's the answer. That's the answer that young lady we heard earlier don't understand. That's the part she never understood. Why there's something different about us. We're the people of the Bible. Deuteronomy 7 and 6 and 10 and 15. Let's get it real quick. Here's that superpower she was talking about. Deuteronomy 7 verse 6.
Yes, sir. Deuteronomy 7 and 6. For thou art an holy people unto the Lord thy God.
Thou art a what?
An holy people unto the Lord thy God. The Lord thy God hath chosen thee to be a special people unto himself above all people that are upon the face of the earth.
And that's that superpower she was talking about. He have chosen us to be a special people above every race of people on earth. And this is why all nations conspire against us. This is why the UN and others will get all these people under the guise of immigration to come through and undermine us. Because they know if they left us alone, we would rise above their power. See? We're the influencers of the earth. We're the cultural trendsetters of the earth, and they know it. We're the originators of the earth. Guess what? And that's why everything we do, it resonates throughout the earth. Culturally and every other way. We got a brother out of nowhere who's being watched now over there down south because he was able to turn plastic bottles into diesel fuel. Now check that out. Made a machine. We've always been, let me tell you, don't ever go for what they show you on television.
Right.
And I'm talking about from either side. They made us believe here in America that every African needed Sally Struthers. For 30 cents a day, we can feed a child, and you sending your money to these places and it's going to a cult freak party. We thought all of Africa was running around with flip-flops and strings, ooga booga, and all. This is what they're showing us on TV. Intentionally. The same way they're promoting the subculture of our people overseas. When people come over here, they think that's what we are. We're God's people. We are spiritually connected above all people of the earth when we're standing upright with our God. We're not down with Buddha. We're not down with Allah. We're not down with the white Jesus. We're not down with anything you Gentiles are pushing. Because the God you serve, guess what, folks? You're not even benefiting from them. Look over in East India and in the deprived neighborhoods and all that stuff they're dealing with. The filth and all that throughout these other countries, you serving these other gods. You can say what you want about our people. Let me tell you, we are a clean people.
That's right.
A clean people. Even in the worst of circumstances, we do everything to stay clean.
Mm-hmm.
Let me tell you, that's what it chose. It's regal. It's in us. And Esau will do everything he can to keep us misdirected. And that's what this young lady didn't understand. We're the chosen people of God. Real quick, let me do this real quick. I think Shamal sent me something, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, let me grab it. Let me airdrop it. Right there. One more time. Let me airdrop it once more. One second. Airdrop. Hold on, let me grab it. 1 second, folks. Open. All right, y'all. I know some people are waiting in the wings on Zoom. 1 second. Zoom. The Vincent family holds. I'll bring you in a second, Vincent. But in the meantime, let me see. Oh, that's why. Make sure we're on the same. Yeah. Airdrop. Oh, there it is right here. All right. Oh, yeah. All right. I think this is what Bishop Shamal sent. I think this is Blue Letter, Elder Lawyer.
I believe so. Yes, sir.
All right. All right. This is Acts the 13th chapter. Blue Letter. And I thank you, Shamal, for sending this. I guess he took this off of his phone, possibly. And it's speaking of what? Acts the 13th chapter concerning Paul turning to the Gentiles. Right? It reads here, Acts 13 and 46, right here. Then Paul and Barnabas waxed bold and said it was necessary that the word of God should first have been spoken to you. But see that ye put it from you, and judge yourselves unworthy of everlasting life. Lo, we turn to the Gentiles. Now, Paul was an Israelite. So who is he turning to here? For so that the Lord commanded us, saying, I have set thee to be a light of the Gentiles, that thou shouldest be for salvation unto the ends of the earth. So we supposed to be that light to the Gentiles, to show them the correct path back to God, back to the law, back to our Christ. We're supposed to be the light. We're not supposed to deny the Gentiles or now get mad at the Gentiles or hate the Gentiles. We're the light to them. See that? So if we're the light to them, how can you blame them for sitting in ignorance or living in ignorance and hatred if you're not willing to teach them? I need y'all to think about that, folks. We are the light. And to prove that, look at our influence when they use us for darkness, when they use us for what's wrong. Guess what? The whole world is wearing Michael Jordans. Not to say that's wrong. I'm just showing you our influence. We're the light. See? Look at what happened when Kanye West was on board, and he wasn't even in the fashion world. He was a rapper. And influenced the world with his fashion. We're the light. What they are afraid of is that we'll use that light not for their enterprise, not for their marketing, but for our Christ, for our people. To guide people from darkness to light. They don't want that. See that? So again, these Israelites out there who claim that you're not supposed to teach Gentiles, they're not the way anyway. Okay? They're so blinded by their hatred of people that they are denying the path of Christ for those who would choose it. And guess what? There's going to be a judgment for that. Christ said in Matthew, the 23rd chapter, that they would stop up the kingdom of heaven for those who would go in when they're not going in themselves. Trying to claim, well, I don't teach Gentiles. Okay. All right. Well, they're showing forth who you are. You're not a teacher of the gospel. You're an antichrist. Let's bring some people in. Thank you, Shamal. For those who would like to come in through Zoom, have a word to say, there go the link right there. Hold on. Here's the link for those who like to come in. And let's get Jeremiah 16 and 19, Elder Lawyer.
Yes, sir.
Because this is what they will eventually realize. Jeremiah 16, 19. Let's play it one more time. Let's play it one more again. Let's play it once more, then read Jeremiah 16, 19 and open it up for calls.
I don't mean to say this like to be disrespectful, and maybe some people are going to think this sounds dumb, but I feel like there's a deeper reason why, you know, people of color and specifically the Black community have been relentlessly persecuted. Like, I mean, just the things that happened during slavery alone, like, were insane. But I don't know, the more I learn about Black history and the ways that, you know, people who literally worked in the government, like the CIA, all these different people in power were trying to ruin the Black community. And it makes me think, dude, I feel like, is there something more going on here than just racism? Because it's like, come on, you're telling me you're doing all of this stuff just because you don't like someone's skin color? I feel like, what if, I have this theory that, like, what if Black people have some type of superpower? Like, what if they have, I don't know, if they're just born with something very valuable that we don't really know about, but maybe, you know, like I said, these people, these rich people and these people in power, maybe they figured it out a long time ago, and maybe that's why they were like, oh, we have to, like, get rid of them, blah, blah, blah. I don't know. I feel like maybe they have something special that we are not taught about that is linked to them being people of color, you know? And I've seen some Black creators come on here and try to explain how special it is to have melanin in your skin and how it has all these different properties. But I don't know, I just feel like I have this theory that this goes so much deeper than maybe a lot of us realize, because I'm sorry, but I don't think you're gonna go out of your way for all these hundreds and hundreds of years to try to ruin one group of people over something as silly as, oh, their skin is a different color. Like, I feel like there's something that we don't know.
Yeah, there is something you don't know. That we're the chosen sons of Jacob. We're God's people. The Bible is our history book. See, it's not a religious book. Okay? The Bible is a what? It's a book that have been drafted out of the heavenly scrolls. The dominion of Adam, being our father, we are to take up his position of dominion through Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And through that, we had to deal with what? We dealt with the downfall through sin. But out of that downfall is a purging of our nation that will refine us like pure gold. And on the other side of that refining is the remnant who will rule this earth according to prophecy. And this is why anything they do out there, they aim it towards us. If they talk about trans or whatever the case is, they'll put it out there and show some white people, but then you'll see them pushing it in the schools of our community where we live. That's the bait and switch. They'll always show you some white people doing it. But then when you look at the legislation, whatever they're doing, LGBTQ, trans, whatever it is, the legislation is being shaped to harm our children in schools. Because they know we're the people. So they're waging every level of war in order for them to what? Keep power before the prophecy is assumed. Where the elder shall serve the younger. That's the prophecy. Elder Lawyer, Jeremiah 16 and 19, we'll leave it there. Then we'll open up the lines.
Yes, sir. Jeremiah 16, verse 19. O Lord, my fortress, my strength, and my fortress, and my refuge in the day of affliction. The Gentiles shall come unto thee from the ends of the earth, and shall say, surely our fathers have inherited lies, vanity, and things wherein there is no profit.
And it says, they shall come from the ends of the earth and say, surely our fathers have inherited lies. Why? In order for Esau to lie to us, he had to lie to everyone, including his people. Only a few elite in high circles understand the true narrative. See? Only those in high areas or high rungs of power understand the true prophetic narrative. But people are on to it. She's saying, you can't tell me this is not about something deeper than race. especially when you got what they call other black and brown people being used as buffers by Edomites to destroy our people in the community. Read on, Elder Lawyer, 20.
Yes, sir. Verse 20. Shall a man make gods unto himself, and there are no gods? Therefore, behold, I will this once cause them to know, I will cause them to know mine hand and my might, and they shall know that my name is the Lord.
And before it's over, all nations will know that the God of Israel was in fact the true God of all gods. His name is Ahiah. Now, for those Gentiles who want to come into the truth and totally renounce your pagan ways, you have an opportunity. You must break away from modern day Christianity. That's not the Christianity Christ left. That's a Roman infiltration. You must walk away from Buddhist, which is Satanism. You must walk away from witchcraft, sorcery, all of that. You must walk away from Islam and follow the true understanding. And that's Christ as it is written. Be baptized. That's right. Be baptized for the remission of sins, and you will receive the gift of the Holy Spirit. And it's that Spirit alone, with your what? Your discipline towards the kingdom, that guides you towards true understanding. Elder Lawyer, let's get the one in Isaiah. I mean, the one we had earlier. I think in Ezekiel when it says for all people.
Yes, sir. Isaiah 56.
Isaiah, let's get it. Isaiah 56. And again, let me put it out there again. For any Israelite who claiming that Cornelius is an Israelite, was an Israelite. If you can prove that, I will apologize. Whatever church you got to use the Bible. Whatever church or organization you come from, I'm going to take $1,000 of my personal money and I'm going to put towards your church because you're teaching the truth. Okay? We'll break down. This church will no longer this will cease to exist. And I'll join where you're teaching. Okay? If you can prove to me out of the Bible that Cornelius was an Israelite. You can do it tonight if you would like. But if you can't prove it, you must apologize. All you have to do is say, you know what, I'm sorry, I'm wrong. Let me go back and learn. That's all. Now look at all I'm putting out there for you. And the only thing I'm asking for you to do is, because you're not going to be able to do it, is apologize. Right? Get it once more, Elder Lawyer. And you notice,
yes, sir.
And guess what? You know they know I said this, but yet there's crickets, right? You notice they're going through their books and trying to figure it out. You know they heard me say this because I issued this challenge for the last 5-10 years, and no one have took me up on it yet. Okay? Because they know they can't prove it. Chapter and verse.
Yes, sir. Isaiah 56.
I'm there.
Isaiah 56 and 1.
Let's read it.
Thus saith the Lord, keep ye judgment and do justice, for my salvation is near to come, and my righteousness to be revealed. Blessed is the man that doeth this, and the Son of Man that layeth hold on it, that keepeth the Sabbath from polluting it, and keepeth his hand from doing any evil.
So again, the Sabbath is to be instituted. This is a future prophecy here. So that garbage talking about Sunday replace Sabbath is utterly ridiculous. Sunday is what? That's total rebellion against the God of Sabbaths. Read.
Neither let the son of the stranger that have joined himself to the Lord speak, saying, the Lord have utterly separated me from his people.
Now hold up. Is this who are these people? Are these Israelites here? This is the Old Testament here. The stranger that have joined himself to the Lord speak, saying, the Lord have utterly separated me from his people. Read.
Neither let the eunuch say, behold, I'm a dry tree. For thus saith the Lord unto the eunuchs that keep my Sabbaths, and choose the things that please me, and take hold of my covenant, even unto them will I give in mine house and within my walls a place and a name better than of sons and of daughters. And I will give them an everlasting name that shall not be cut off. Also the sons of the stranger that join themselves to the Lord, to serve him, and to love the name of the Lord, to be his servants.
And Yeshaya, read.
Everyone that keepeth the Sabbath from polluting it, and taketh hold of my covenant, even them will I bring to my holy mountain, and make them joyful in my house of prayer. Their burnt offerings and sacrifices shall be acceptable upon mine altar. For my house shall be called an house of prayer for all people.
And my house shall be called a house of prayer for all people, not just Israelites. Even though Israelites is at the head of government, appointed through Christ, of course it's an Israelite kingdom. But again, all people can benefit from the kingdom if they repent. There's a remnant out of all the people who will live and see the other side of the judgment that's coming on this world. And we're here to be a light for those people. The Lord.
Verse 8, the Lord God which gathereth the outcast of Israel, yet will I gather others to him. I
will gather others to him. Read.
Besides those that are gathered unto him.
Besides those that are gathered unto him. Period. So this doesn't take away from what's promised to the Israelites. But people need to stop teaching false doctrine, claiming that Cornelius was an Israelite. That you're undermining the ministry Christ put in place. And not only that, for those who are savvy when it comes to the understanding of the Bible, let me tell you, to those who know the true narrative, let me tell you, they see people who try to twist scriptures like that, and guess what? You make the gospel of Christ a mockery. They'll point to that, and they'll make others believe that this is what Israelites believe. And it's common sense. It's undermining Christ's ministry. Let me tell you. And guess what? You would actually have to be more diplomatic and understanding when it comes to other races of people outside of your own. All that white man is a devil stuff, you have to kill all of that. And just teach the Bible. See? So let's go. Let's go. Hey, who knows? Maybe one of them gonna prove it tonight. We put up Zoom. Let me tell you, how many people we got in here? We got over 2,000 people in here, and I know there's some Israelites somewhere can prove right now that Cornelius was an Israelite. The Vincent family. How you doing, young man? Hold on. Let me set up the. Hold on. Hold on. You know what? I haven't heard from Sunshine Lady. Is she all right? Lawyer, we got to figure out what's going on with Sunshine. Sunshine, if you're out there, call in so I can know you're still kicking out there now.
Yeah, she been MIA. Hopefully she can call in tonight.
Yeah, she gonna call in. The first 3 minutes will be her digressing from the excitement. How you doing, Vincent?
I'm doing good up there.
All right, talk to me, young man.
Man, first I just wanted to say there's no way, after all the work that you guys have done in this church, just me as a man, the ability to go overseas, the faith that it takes, the risk that it takes, everything that's been created, everything that's been built, everything taught in the academy, as a man, I could just come and make some petty comment about, well, you might be wrong on this aspect. That's just, for me, that's just so asinine.
Okay, but let me make it clear.
And you're not wrong.
No, what I'm saying is I will stand corrected if I'm wrong. Right? It doesn't matter. Listen, it doesn't matter where I've traveled. I understand what you're saying, though. Like, there's a respect factor based on the experience. But you're not going to blindly accept what I'm saying unless it's verified through your personal study. Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I understand what you're saying, but go on.
No, I just said that because it's just a level of respect that has to come with people who put work in. I'm not going to blindly just follow somebody and everything that they say. I'm always going to verify. But I'm more prone to give the benefit of the doubt to people who work than people behind the comment.
Yeah.
Just in my natural discernment. That's just one. But just as far as, Gentiles seeing that, and maybe waking up to the fact that we're the children of Israel.
Yeah.
Man, you see it so many factors. You can see it, sports, music. There's musicians now, Gentiles, that have just all black bands. Just because of the spirit that comes from the band, the difference from the notes behind these guys. There's, in sports, all it took was Tiger Woods. It wasn't even many out there. All it took was Serena and Venus to go out there, and it just changes the whole game in the aspect, and you start to see the minds of people even coming into those sports, taking it to a whole nother level, starting off of the children of Israel and being like, wow, look at what they could do. I want to jump as high as Michael Jordan, or I want to shoot like Steph Curry. It's all coming off of the children of Israel being a light. They've known it. It's been a sore spot. Because it's hard, sometimes when they're like, man, I got maybe the silver spoon, but I don't necessarily have what looks like it's being respected amongst people, being marveled, being awed. And they weren't even given the silver spoon like I was. Mm-hmm. And sometimes that interchange comes with a side eye, but my wife, been together, 8 years now. She's Gentile. And so her coming into my life and me coming into hers, she was just like, man, there's just so much spirit in your family. There's so many things you guys do differently than what's a part of my family. Your cookout, she's like, I want to do that all the time. She's like, I wish that freedom was a part. And there's just difference in communities.
So let me ask you this, because a lot of people will want to know, and you don't got to go into your personal life with everything, but were you with her before you knew the truth of who you were as far as Israel goes?
No, I knew the truth, and then we got married.
Okay, all right. Just want to know, were you in the church or you were just on your journey?
I was on the journey.
Okay, all right. Go on. Or you can finish, just because some people would just like to know, right?
I didn't caught some slack.
Yeah, I know. Listen, I know you caught strays, but
I caught some slack.
Yeah, but because everyone know that when it comes to the nations, we as a church usually teach, it's best according to the Bible to go with the nation, of your nation.
Of
Right?
course.
But that's what the Most High, that's what's preferred. But we have many people, like the majority of people, aren't in interracial relationships. But hey, follow the law, have her follow the law, and and as long as you're right according to the Most High in Christ, He'll deal with that when He returns. We're not here trying to. I heard there's some groups where if someone is married to another race, that they tell people to divorce their other half. Insanity. I mean, it's insanity. The whole deal is, listen, that's your household. You pay for that household, you guide that household, and you're responsible for that. I mean, especially, that's not the model we see for the majority of Israelites. They're married to Israelites.
Yeah.
So, but I think people tend to just focus on the one outlier and say, what's going on here? Like, listen, that's that man's household. He have to live with his wife. These children coming through him as Israelites. But what they're waiting for me to say, they're waiting for me to shun, or for me to downcast, or just berate someone that's in an interracial relationship. And I'm gonna tell you, this is where they go to. They'll go to the extreme. Okay, they'll go to Moabites and say the Bible says don't deal with Moabites. And I'm gonna do a whole lesson on that because they can't use that either. Okay, but all in all, since you mentioned that, I thought that I would just talk about it. Not to make. I'm sorry, I don't want to make your relationship the topic of discussion, but the majority. But go on.
No, it's totally fine. I love my wife to death. She's a part of what's helped me along my journey and saved my life. She's been baptized in the church and
good.
Is a part of many Israelite women and groups in our church. And she does nothing but work behind the scenes to help the church and continue to grow out in the garden, prepare.
Okay.
She look down at any people. And I take full responsibility as a man.
Yeah, but I don't want to put it on your relationship. You just put it out there. I just wanted to put that out there real quick because you got different perspectives. But you were saying that she noticed that there's a difference in culture. I'm gonna let you go for a little bit, then I got to bring a few more people in. She respects your culture. So what is it that fascinated her about your culture when y'all two got together?
The relaxed vibe. The ability to be able to have conversations about serious things without a serious demeanor. Everything wasn't so anal. Like, I would just relax. The ability, the different types of foods that she saw that was being made, in her community, a lot of stuff is slow cooked over the oven and all that. And she saw, food being prepared and the music. And, she would come to some of my basketball games and she would see the passion. She would see brothers talking smack and she would get scared. And then she would see us shaking hands after the game. And she'd be like, what is that? And I was like, oh, that's just friendly competition. There ain't nothing out there. We just going at each other. I was like, it's just all fun. And she's just like, on her side, it's just really tense. She went to a private school called, Lincoln Christian.
Man, don't put out there. Don't put out your people. Man, just speak general. You got to have people researching.
Yeah, that's my bad. She went to a private school, though. And so she, perceived that she learned the doctrine of Christianity. And, we just opened up the Bible. I showed her you guys' lessons. And then, her going back to her family and trying to share that information, was turning heads.
Good. But
she found the ability to be confident and stand for what's right.
Okay.
In the face of adversity. But yeah, it's easy to see too. It's always been there. And for her, it was just a silent thing that just never got said. But she was like, I always sat behind the scenes. I was like, man, it just looks so easy for them. Even music, she, loves Whitney Houston. Just like, it's so easy for her. She's like, it just looks like she doesn't even look like she's really trying to hit those crazy notes. And, you know, that just sets the bar for the next, you know, woman trying to come out and be a singer.
Yeah. Well, thank you, brother. And you always bring some insightful information, some talking points. I appreciate you, my brother.
I appreciate you too.
All right. Hey. Sharp brother there. Okay, we got Brother Israel. Can you unmute, please?
Hey, Shalom, the other part.
Shalom, is your phone all right?
Yeah, I'm all right. Can you hear me clearly?
I can hear you. A little echo, but go on.
Yeah, I wanted to talk to you about two things, man. One is very important than the other. And I was just trying to get your confirmation on it, Elder. I was laying down and I heard my grandmother's voice. It was similar to what I think Joseph heard. I forget which Israelite. He heard his mother's voice from the grave or something, but I heard my grandmother's voice because I was thinking something. I was angry with her about something, and then I heard her say, "I'm sorry, grandson." So that's just the first thing, but a recent thing happened to me.
Okay. Let's go back before you go to the recent thing.
Okay.
One thing at a time.
Okay.
I take it your grandmother is no longer with us?
No, she is not.
Okay, now why would you be angry with someone who isn't here?
It was probably because I was thinking that my family should have been into businesses and certain things like that to prevent certain bad things from happening. You know, like some incidents had occurred where I thought like maybe if my grandma and my certain family members were into business or something like that, maybe it would have caused some what happened to her.
Let me ask you, do you think that's rational? Being angry at someone who's no longer here, knowing that there's no resolve. There's no resolve that can happen from the other side. Do you believe that's rational? Can you be angry at the judgment have already occurred if someone is no longer here? They're in God's hands. And whatever they did right or wrong, they've faced that with the Almighty.
Right. You know, it's not that I was like holding on to anything. It's just that I just found it awkward that, you know, or amazing, so to speak, to hear my grandmother speak to me while I was laying down saying, "I'm sorry, grandson." And but the main reason I was calling because another relative who's alive, I was just laying down in the bed and I heard this relative say, "My autopsy is going to be in 4 months." And I'm like, did I just hear what I think I heard? And that's why I was calling in. I was like, man, I hope this ain't no Nephilim spirit tricking me or God just telling me, hey, look, you better get right with me if you want my protection. You can't have no sin in your life. Otherwise, this person won't be.
Let me ask you a few questions. How old are you, young man?
I'm 42.
42. Where you live? What city, state?
Right now, man, I'm in Oregon now, man.
Are you a part of a church? What's going on with you?
I was trying to be a part of.
No, that's a no.
I was going to say our church.
Just say.
But I was trying to be a part of the Gathering of Christ Church.
Just say no. Ahead. Just say no.
Oh, okay. I just say no. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Don't get offended here.
All right.
Do you get high at any time? Marijuana?
Not at all. Elder. See, that's the unique part. That's why I'm saying I don't do no drugs, man. I was just coming from work. I was going to the shelter, laying down in the shelter bed, getting ready to go to work for the next day. You know what I'm saying? It is no marijuana, no type of drugs, nothing, completely sober. That's why I was wondering, okay, was that a message from the Lord, like some type of hint letting me know?
Brother,
go ahead.
we have to talk offline because there's a lot of things going on here, right? You're in a shelter, so obviously there's something happening that led you there, right?
Yeah, but I got my crib now. Better. I'm good now, man. I'm just saying that's where I heard the relative's voice who's alive now. That's why I was saying I was thinking that it was a hint, like God was letting me know, like, look, this person is going to pass away if you don't get right with me.
I'm saying, brother, you have to realize when you're being emotionally, put it this way. Let me put it this way. You have to understand that we wrestle not with flesh and blood, right? And that there's spirits.
Right.
Not
that's why I was calling.
Okay. I'm giving you some insight.
Okay.
If something out of nowhere, gets you angry with your grandmother who's no longer here, that in of itself will tell you that's an attack of the specters in Shadim. Those are demons.
Right. That's the main reason I was calling, just to confirm, like, is this guy let me get a hint of something what's going on,
listen, I don't know what you opened up, and I don't know what you've done that have led to these spirits communicating with you. It's up to you to figure that out. But I need what you would need to do is pray, link in with someone who can help you pray 3 times a day, pray the Lord's Prayer, and ask Christ to head you. You're under a spiritual attack.
Okay. Well, just to make a long story short, that's all I want to tell you about that part. The second part I want to tell you is about the thing with AI. It's this old video call.
Well, brother, I got many people. I only had time for 2. You said 2. We're gonna. Listen. No, you can't be saying again after you say it again. Friday is when you can pick up with the AI thing. Okay.
Okay.
All right, my brother.
All right, shalom.
Shalom. How you doing, Simi?
No, you can't be saying it again. After you say it again. Friday is when you pick up the guy.
Hey, Simi, can you turn me off? Mute it from the background, please.
Oh, okay.
How you doing?
Well, I'm doing well, thank you, Elder. Okay. Hi. So I just wanted to say that this has been a really, just the entire ministry has just been a huge blessing in my life and my husband's life.
Praise the Most
We've
High.
been learning a lot, and my husband and I actually attended a church here where we live, and it's just been really, really wonderful, and we're planning on continuing. And I just wanted to share with people who are seeking the truth, because I know that there are different people that are listening to the ministry, and I just came across the ministry about 4 weeks ago exactly, or 4 or 5 weeks. I've lost track. That the month is going so fast. But just like the scripture in Matthew that says, seek and you will find, knock and the door shall be open unto you. For anyone who seeks will find, and he who knocks, the door will be open. And I want to say that God truly does honor that scripture. And I can say that my eyes have been wide open for the past 5 years. God has been leading me on this journey of learning a lot of the things that you were teaching. I was actually quite shocked how much of it I was being introduced to that knowledge, and just been on that path of just seeking God and seeking the truth. And even with the situation that happened a few years ago, I've been the only one in my entire family who has really been aware of the deception that happened. And I can definitely attest to the fact that the Holy Spirit does lead God's people to all truth, because there were times where I didn't even understand what was going on with that whole thing, but I just knew deep down in my spirit that I was not supposed to go in that direction of taking that stuff, right? And I try to warn some of my families and some of my relatives, and it's just, it's disheartening that so many people are still deceived by that, because a big part of that too is because they were being told by their leaders that they should take it, right? And I could see I come from a Christian family who everyone attends church, but yet they were deceived by this, right? And so I can definitely attest to the fact that the Holy Spirit does lead people to the truth. And anyone who feels doubtful about some of the teachings here, I just want to say, keep seeking the truth, because God will lead you to the truth. The same way that he has led my husband and I to this ministry a month ago. And my husband and I, we've actually seen a lot of the things that you talked about. And sometimes it felt very lonely.
Okay, when you said some of the things we've talked about, you mean some of the topics we've touched on?
The topics, yeah.
Okay, all right.
The topics.
All right, go on.
Yeah, some of the topics. And, we were like, especially the situation with the Middle East, right? I know this is live, so I don't want to really go into all the specifics, but you know what I mean, that part of the country, right? That part of the world. And there were people literally that were saying it's good what they're doing, right? And they're in the church and they're attending services on Sundays and saying that other party should be unalive the way they have been, right?
You're talking about the Palestinians?
Yeah.
And
the pastors were supporting this stuff. And we stopped attending these churches too once we start to realize like something just didn't seem right? And, there were other things that would happen.
Well, just to edify for people who's listening, you've attended churches that have been influenced by Christian Zionism.
Yes.
Where they are politically, proselytizing Christians into believing that they're justified killing people in the Middle East. And you got Christians who believe in Christ. And this is why people have to be very careful with Zionism.
Yeah.
Because Christians, they will have you stand against your own values. If you believe in Christ, absolutely. How can you back any people killing other people?
That's exactly what I said too.
In the name of Christ. But go on. Go on.
Yeah, I agree. I felt the same way. And I felt confused, to be honest, because I felt like this was like every single church. I am not talking about just one or two churches. I'm talking about like every single church that thinks this way.
Yeah.
And some of them are churches that are growing, they're multiplying. That's the other thing too that people have to realize. Just because a church is growing and they're opening a new branch, like this one particular church we went to, they were opening a new branch like every year. There was a new branch being opened because they were growing so quickly. That doesn't mean that they're on the right path. And even Jesus says that narrow is the gate that leads to salvation, right? Yeah. But broad is the gate that leads to destruction.
Yeah.
And so, I say all this not to say those people cannot find the truth, but to tell people just because you're going somewhere that everyone is rooting and they seem like they're growing and they are just such a big worship service, right?
Yeah.
Doesn't mean that they're on the right path. And that's why we have to be very careful about who we're taking teachings from, because the devil is in these churches and he's using these leaders to deceive many people. And I've seen it myself. And I'll share one other instant, like one of the churches we had actually become a member of, it's a Baptist church. And this is how bad it was. I'm a very kind person. My husband is as well. And by the way, I share this background because it's important for people to understand that your husband could be in another race as long as he loves Christ. Because I am Black, my husband is white, and God brought us together. And I could tell you stories of just how we came together, and it's totally God. But my husband loves Christ, and I as well. We both do. And so we just have such a hunger for God and his kingdom. And it's funny because the church we were attending, I was the only Black person there. And I'm a kind person. That's just by nature who I am. And there were a mother and daughter in the church that started to target me. And they started to say, literally drag me into the pastor's office, the mother and the daughter, saying that this is what they started to say, Pastor, the mother, right? Pastor, she's so kind. She walks around the church and she's friendly with everybody. That was my sin. My sin was being kind. And it makes me think of what you were saying in your message, that Jacob did not destroy Esau, even though he had the opportunity to.
Okay, let me
right?
mention this. Someone asked in the chat, we can be with white men. Let me make it clear to you, brothers and sisters. She just started learning a couple of weeks ago. And if someone comes into this church and already have a relationship together where we had no, people want to come as they are. Right? So the whole thing is, hey, they are an item. They were an item before she found the church 2 weeks ago. And she's going to stay in her marriage. Right? So you can't, her husband loves her. She loves her husband. And
he loves Christ.
And they both love Christ. Too. And that's that. Yeah. It's not because what are we supposed to do? She's an Israelite, right? Okay. Right. That's fine. But what are we supposed to do? What are we supposed to do? Oh, hold up. You got a white husband. Oh, you got to divorce it. You got to divorce your husband.
Yeah.
No, we don't do that.
Right.
What Christ put together, let no man put asunder.
There you go. That's exactly what it comes down to. We have to let the Holy Spirit.
I'm talking to the audience though. People are coming into the church the way they are, and it's our position as ministers to plant the seed. Because at the end of the day, none of us have to deal with or live with someone's decisions in the privacy of their own homes. We give them the law, statutes, and commandments. Now, I'm going to tell you this. Right? In the scriptures in Matthew, matter of fact, let me get this real quick. Because I'm going to use this as a teaching moment.
Right.
Right? 1 second. And this is just for the people. Hold on 1 second, Simi.
Okay, sure.
Right? When you go into Matthew, when it shows the parable between the wheat and the tares, when it shows this parable, this is Christ speaking here. Another parable put he forth unto them, saying, the kingdom of heaven is likened unto a man which sowed good seed in his field. But while men slept, his enemy came and sowed tares among the wheat and went his way. But when the blades were sprung up and brought up fruit, then appeared the tares also. So the servants of the householder came and said unto me, Sir, didst not thou sow good seed in thy field? For whence then hath it tares? Well, if anyone have ever seen wheat, tare will grow next to it, and guess what? It would camouflage itself or look similar, and you really have to have a good eye to understand the difference, right? So the servants of the householder came and said unto him, Sir, didst not thou sow good seed? From whence then have it tares? He said unto them, An enemy have done this. The servant said unto him, Wilt thou then that we go and gather them up? Right? But he said, Nay, lest whether you gather up the tares, you root up also the wheat with them. Let them grow together until the harvest. And in the time of the harvest, I will say to the reapers, Gather ye together the tares, and bind them in bundles to burn them. But gather the wheat into my barn. So at the end of the day, it tell you that when Christ comes, he's going to divide the nations. That's not a minister's job or a pastor's job. Let me show you. It's up to us to do what? This is Christ when he returns. Let me show you. You got some people out of their minds. people are coming into their building to learn Christ, and you got some people trying to check genealogy cards, trying to figure out what family you come from. And then what they'll do is, if somebody come with an interracial relationship and they both want to serve Christ, they'll tell her, you can come in, but your white man must stay outside. That's utterly ridiculous. Let me read this real quick. The final judgment. When the Son of Man shall come in his glory, and all the holy angels with him, then shall he sit upon the throne of his glory. This is Christ. And before him shall be gathered all nations. That's all races of people. And he shall separate them one from another. So who separates the people? Christ do. Now, if it's somebody coming in single, then we let them know. Well, hold up. It's according to God, every nation should be with their own nation. There's nothing wrong with that. And before him shall be gathered all nations, and he shall separate them one from another, as a shepherd divideth his sheep from the goats. Right? So who separates? Christ. Now, here's something deep. Here's something deep. Suppose that person you think is an Edomite has a great-great-great-grandfather that's just as black as you, but it's not shown in this generation. It looks like a regular white person. And that's why Paul says you just can't outright judge the outward appearance. So this is why it's upon us to teach all nations. Because Christ knows exactly who's who. That ain't our position to be overlords over individual houses when they have to live with their relationship. You understand that? So I'm going to leave that there. But go on.
Yeah, I ultimately, I just want to say that that there are times where you're attending a place and you may feel like you're out of place. And sometimes that's the Holy Spirit that's telling you that something isn't right. Because even with the church that we were attending, there were things about it that just didn't feel right. And God was showing us through the aggression of some of the members with the mom and her daughter, who literally just started to look for things that I was doing right, which is what Jesus calls us to be. He calls us to be like him. And those were the things that were being attacked, that I was a kind person, that I would have fellowship with other members of the church. And you know.
Sister, I'll put it like this, though. Like with anything or any place or any community we gravitate to. Mm-hmm. Like we tend to get in where we fit in, right? Mm-hmm. So I don't know exactly what the dynamics were there, but the whole thing is, right? It's best when you are part of anything, just to just to fit in, right?
Right.
Because the whole deal is, maybe I don't know what they seen, but maybe they were like, based on the structure that was in place, something was going on. Something was going on there. It could have been how you looked under certain circumstances. You being a black woman in a white church.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
So, but all in all, when you go to a body of Christ, you don't go there for other people.
Exactly. That's exactly right.
So it wouldn't make no difference what someone else was thinking there, or what, because
exactly
I wouldn't be in their proximity for them to think anything, right? So
yeah. But we just have to constantly listen to the Spirit.
I'm gonna say this, because if you bring your husband to the church, initially with him, even though we have some Gentiles in the church, but I don't think it's like that when you come amongst our church, but there could be some level of uncomfortable feelings with him, right? And let me say what I'm saying. When it comes to the uncomfortability there, that's the word I'm looking for. usually you get in where you fit in. If it's something that's outside of the norm, it could regularly make someone uncomfortable because it's not what they're used to.
Right.
And it doesn't mean that the Holy Spirit isn't working. It's getting acclimated into a different environment.
Right.
Right? So we have to understand when we talk about the Holy Spirit, right? Sometimes it's us.
Right.
I just want to make that clear. Because you're not going to always be comfortable, even amongst anybody, until you find your place. You must find where your brick can be laid. But go on.
That's right. Yeah, but my husband, he really enjoyed it. And we are actually just so glad that we found it. And we're both planning to attend on a regular basis. And so I just want to give God thanks for that, because I do believe that God led us here. And we have stopped attending other services for the reasons I shared with the whole Zionism and all of that. We were just not agreeable to that. So finding your ministry has definitely been, I believe, and my husband also believes, that it's God, it's the Holy Spirit that led us here, because we have both been. So I just want to give word for that, and thank you both, you and Elder Rashah. You're Rashah.
No. My name is Elder Rakar Shiar.
Oh, Rakashia, I'm sorry, Elder Rakar Shiar.
No, sisters, you don't gotta apologize. You're fairly new. You're finding your way. But I'm gonna tell you what though. But pace yourself. There's a lot of work to be done, and a lot. This journey is I'm gonna tell you, it's a marathon. So pace yourself. That's what. If there's any advice I can give you while becoming a part of what we're doing, is understanding that you really have to pace yourself. But thank you.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you. Have a good night.
All right.
Bye.
Thank you.
Okay, bye. God bless.
Yeah. And you know, she's always have a certain level of excitement with her, and appreciation. So I thank the Most High for that in her. You know, I'm gonna tell you, hey, she's gonna definitely be a pillar in this work. Alan Barnes, the musician. How you doing, Captain? Long time no see. Unmute.
Shalom, Elder.
Let me tell you, man, you playing that hat like an OG right now.
You saw my wife, right?
He got that thing. He got that thing tilted nice. Yeah. Only Jake can put on a hat like that. I'll tell you right there. Look at that thing.
Yeah.
Talk to me, Mr. Barnes.
Well, I just know that, like the young lady was talking, you stick in there. The devil, he gonna be throwing those monkey wrenches at you. You just gotta stay the course, you know. My mother, she just died, and I found out my brother, he went behind my back to steal everything from the other brothers and stuff, you know, and I have to deal with that, you know. I'm just like we were talking the other day.
I'm sorry to hear that. I'm sorry for your loss.
Yeah, I sent you something, so maybe you got that already in the mail.
I don't know. I probably have to talk to you afterwards. You know me, and when stuff come, it goes to the administration. I don't get it immediately. So, how long ago did you send?
It's like a week.
Okay, yeah, I'll know once I go to the church. Once I go back to the church.
Well, you know, my mother was a beautiful person, and she's the one that taught me about Christ at a young age.
Okay.
You know, I started music in the church when I was really young.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like I always knew it because the guy in the Cleveland Orchestra, he told me something, and I said, okay. He stopped giving me lessons, and then when I finished going through school all the way to university, the guy, he said, what do you want, Alan? A piece of paper? He said, get the Hades out of here. Go play. So that has been the whole history of that, and just been doing that all my life, you know. And I just, you know, from the 70s, the mid-70s to the 80s, and traveling all that time and everything like that, I just know God, he had gave me the ability, but I didn't know I was going to end up being in the church playing the music. But God, he got his own way to showing it. I appreciate doing it. It's so much fun to doing that for the Lord, playing for him. You know, and it's like the guy from Philadelphia, Mr. Biddles, his son and his daughter, you know, they was in that movie with Bruce Willis, and I'm in the movie. I'm not no important person, so they in the movie. And it's like he'd be 99 years old today, and he was talking to me, and I was telling him, I said, yeah, I remember I used to do that song by Louis Armstrong, and those guys used to be playing, and they'd be crying, and they'd be playing for 30, 45 minutes, and I asked them, why you do that? And they said, every time you go in this club, you know, Miles Davis and them, all of them come in that club. He said, you got to do that song. That's the guy that made it so you can come through the front door, Alan. You didn't have to go through the kitchen, through the back door. So you got to do that song all the time when you're with us. And it was a really pleasure to be around those kind of icon of musicians like that and playing with them and learning from them, you know? Because they old school. You learn from your elders just like I learned from you. You my elder, I learned from you. And I listen. And it's like you was talking to me, man. The Holy Spirit was talking to me through you. And I was listening to you. And you was talking about how people take advantage of older people and stuff like that. And I was remembering that my sister-in-law, she said, oh, I took the shot one time. And I'm like, well, why did you give all that stuff to my mother like that? And she ended up dying from pneumonia and stuff. And she told me, oh, I got this uncurable disease and stuff. I said, Mama, don't believe those lies, what those people are saying to you, you know?
Okay.
And she would have been 93 on August 8th, but she got 92 in there. But I'm glad she still the Lord in me, because I stick with her. And as far as my wife, she's an Edomite, and we was married before we came to church, and we've been in the church close to 10 years.
Shalom.
And we love the church.
Okay.
And I'm not, you know, if anybody got problems with that, like the young lady, just keep straight on the course, and keep focus on Christ.
No one has a problem. I was just dealing with a few people in the chat. That's all. Because, well, you know, yeah, no one has a problem. I want to make it clear, right? No one has a problem. It's just that when people, we're Israel, we believe in Christ, and when people come from these different channels of Israelites who have a hard line against other races of people, right? It confuses those who may come here and see what someone say they got an interracial relationship. When we're not supposed to be the gatekeepers over people's relationship, right?
Exactly.
When it comes to, if you come in the church, you're married. Your obligation is to your husband according to the word of God, and vice versa. And when it comes to the race, Christ is the one that divides that. But really, there is no issue. Okay?
Yeah. I don't have a problem. My wife doesn't either.
All right. It's fine. Well, condolences, my brother, and I'll speak with you soon. And I'm sorry for your loss.
Okay, let's get that music thing together. I'm ready.
All right. Well, we'll be talking soon.
Okay. Shalom. Double honors.
All right. All right. I will be opening this thing up this coming Friday for Q's and A's. So if anyone have any questions concerning doctrine, okay, no personal issues, no spirits that could be operating. Y'all, man, listen. Keep things in the parameters of the Bible, please. All right. And I'm just talking in general, right? If there's something you want to know according to the Bible or have doctrinal questions, this Friday we'll answer all of those. And again, the challenge is open. Of course, I knew that they would ignore that challenge tonight, but who knows? Maybe someone between now and Friday will come with the understanding of Cornelius being an Israelite. Okay? Elder Lawyer, thank you for assisting me this evening. And yes, the nations are realizing who we are. They're cleaving to the house of Jacob, and we will soon see Zion. Have a great night.
Yes, sir. You do the same.
Blessings.
All right. Shalom.
Shalom. The East is where we're from. Blessings. A higher strong.
The east is where we're from. The 12 tribes of Israel. In 721 BC, the Assyrian king, he took us down, we fell. With the great escape we went through the Euphrates. The Lord held the water still. To a land where no mankind dwelt, we went. The 12 tribes of Israel. That's who we be, Manasseh, the Cubans, Ephraim from Puerto Rico, and Valley from the Isles of Hawaii. The Lord is calling back Israel. Zebulon from Panama, Gad, the North American Indians, Simeon, the Dominicans, the highest gathering Israel. The Arabs and Africans told us at gunpoint. Together our wives and children then sold us. In the belly of these great ships we traveled and fed. By the rivers of Babylon we found our brothers here. Together Asher in Colombia, Reuben from Australia, Issachar, the Mexicans, the highest gathering Israel. The Negroes, Benjamin, the West Indians, Levi, the Haitians, the highest gathering in Asher in Colombia, Reuben from Australia, Issachar, the Mexicans. That's who we be, Judah, the Negroes, Benjamin, the West Indians, Levi, the Haitians, Manasseh, the Cubans, Ephraim from Puerto Rico, and Valley from the Isles of Hawaii. The Lord is calling back Israel. Zebulon from Panama, Gad, the North American Indians, Simeon, the Dominicans.